Cek. Halo guys. Ceki.
Actions with the coaches and Alex playing up against one of his idols. Of course, that's gonna
Halo
be
guys,
exciting.
cek.
I like the deep lore that he's bringing out there.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this guy since 1.6, even mentioning the LCQ all the way back in 2021. I love to see that he has a lot of respect for solo, but ultimately is just has a good mindset coming into this. And that's something that we've always expected from Paperrex. But I love just the quote there of saying like, our achievements in the past don't matter. It's a reset. We're coming to a new year. It's a bit of a different roster.
Kalau patah-patah dikit nggak apa-apa lah guys ya.
One step at a time.
And I think that's the best way to look at it,
live
especially in a
streaming,
game that
guys.
moves as
Nobar
fast as Valor,
Wifi
right? We've seen so many switches even during the year. So Alex trying to get as prepared as possible.
Wifi
Also,
lah,
that
guys, ya,
whole
karena
lore,
zona
I think it
begini.
also paints a good picture of
Streamer
where
pemula
Solo's
makanya
at
jadi
in his
streamer
career right
pemula
now.
lagi,
He's
guys.
such a
Welcome teman-teman
storied
ya.
veteran, and yet as
Kalau
a
Burik
coach,
mohon
as a
maaf
head
karena
coach of
bitrate-nya
Valor, just
kagak
hasn't
bisa
seen success.
72 kan main di 720 aja
for
guys ya.
that victory to
Karena
try to
di
get to
1080 udah pasti
But we did hear that
Burik.
Gen.G has been
Kalau
preparing
patah-patah
a
gue juga
lot
nggak
for
bisa ngeliat sih
Paperrex. We're
guys.
gonna see if it is indeed enough, right? But you're absolutely
Kalau
right. I
menurut
love that
OBS nggak
mentality
tuh?
that
Emang
Alex is
kenapa guys
bringing
beda
into this
emang?
back to zero, right? If you're tilted and it's round whatever, you know, it's back to zero the entire time.
Aman
That's
guys, aman
championship
guys. Aman lah ya,
mindset
yang penting bisa
right
ditonton
there.
guys
And
ya.
I'm pretty sure that Gen.G right now, you know, they are
Gue
feeling
ini
like
ternyata
up
di
against
villa kurang
giants,
bagus
even
guys,
though
tapi udah lah
Alex
bisa
says
lah yang
like, it
penting.
doesn't mean anything.
Gue cuma
But
3000
what
Mbps
means
guys
something
upload,
is
jadi mau nggak
definitely
mau.
the singular Gen.G
Suara aman,
prediction
suara
right
aman ya.
here. William, do you want to explain
Bang,
yourself?
ini yang
to
kalah
us?
bakal ketemu
man,
RRQ,
we're
betul.
starting this early in the
Welcome teman
year.
semua ya.
Normally
So, gue mau ingetin kalian juga bahwa Paperrex itu official watch partinya ada 4 guys. Ada Spicy U, ada Jing, dan yang terbaru ada PRX Media Barport guys ya. So, Corsair pengen bang, oke. So, nanti gue bakal abis match ini kelar, abis match Paperrex kelar, kita bakal pindahin ke Miti guys ya. Buat kalian kenalan juga sama Kak Miti, supaya Kak Miti bisa semangat juga buat watch party untuk Paperrex juga guys. Pakai 2K bang, nggak bisa dong, ternyata nggak kuat.
Like in their own freedom, right? Texture.
Aman, suaranya aman guys ya. Coba guys, apa guys yang masih parah guys? Kabarin gue guys kalau masih kenapa-napa guys ya.
Okay, Lias, what was the FPS on texture again?
It was high. It was really, really high.
Yes.
But
dari sini aja, guys.
you're
Biar
also
ini, guys,
you
ya.
were ridiculing me for giving Texture a 10 out of 10 for his performance.
Yuhu.
So which side of the coin do you actually want
Sabar
to
guys
land
ya,
on?
aku
I
aja
saved my
handphonenya
10s
kali
for
ya,
the
biar
MVP
mantap
of the
cok.
whole season. So.
I gave out 2, 1 to Governor, 1 to Texture. Those are my 2 10s for the last 2 days.
Aku tontonnya mantap. Cocok udah live belum? Cocok guys. Terang banget mukanya bang ini di sebelah ini guys. Sebelahnya apa sih? Kaca loh. Apa sih? Jendela.
Because like we don't know how much of that was also RQ maybe folding a little bit because Gen.G was looking so strong because he came out swinging.
Cek
At the
quality,
same
oke.
time, Gen.G did also drop a map against RQ. It wasn't a clean 2-0, so I think there's a lot more to prove. But I just think stylistically, Gen.G is actually going to match up against Paperrex quite
Aman
well.
kan guys ya?
I do think the old habits are going to come in for Gen.G, you know?
They very well could. I think. Look, I think that this is going to be.
Aman kan guys ya?
I think that if Paperrex do have that kind of like rougher starting point because we haven't seen them yet, they have to get back on stage, they have to get reacclimated to the environment. I could see this absolutely being very close. Gen.G absolutely has impressed so far. I'm expecting 3 maps almost no matter what, unless Paperrex comes out
Iya, live dari
so much
Lombok
better
guys.
than we could have
Aman.
anticipated
Sure.
in the
Aman ya,
downtime
aman
that
ya.
they have had. But that
Gen.G
is
mana
a
bang?
very unknown quantity,
Yo live
but
dari Korea
maybe
guys,
this would
mana ada
bite me
kok.
in the rear,
Dari
maybe it'll bite
Lombok
all of
aku
us
ya
in the
guys.
rear here.
Baru
We're facing
pulang dari
competitions on
Curug
passage.
tadi guys.
We
Baru
are going
pulang
off that
dari
history. We
air
are
terjun
going
tadi
off the
barusan.
expectations of these
Baru
players
sampai ini guys,
and,
ke villa.
you know, on Coach Alex as that guy who can really pump the brakes.
Untuk live streaming kali ini aja guys. Ntar next udah harusnya di rumah sih. Untuk next match Paperrex udah pasti di rumah guys, aman.
Go along with the Gen.G ride here, but I
Bang
love that
Rial,
you brought
Joseph,
up the
welcome.
coaching. I love that you brought up the coaching thing because I keep thinking the actual kryptonite to this kind of hopium for Paperrex's opponents is that
Semoga Gen.G
Alex
kalah
just
biar
knows
ketemu
when
RRQ
to
lagi
keep
bang.
it.
Boleh
He
lah.
knows when to reset. We saw this at
Kalau
ADL.
semoga
T1
Paperrex
came out
kalah, sedih
swinging
juga,
on
guys.
Sunset with the Euro. Paperrex just
Pulang ke
looked
Jakarta
lost
kapan,
like they've
Bang?
never been before. It was 6-0 or
Besok,
something, and then
besok.
Alex just pumped
Besok udah
both
pulang, guys.
timeouts back to back. And suddenly
Karena
it
masih
just flips, and
Lombok di
T1's like, well,
Mataram.
we've run out of options. We don't know what to do. And even after the game, I talked to the players. Devi was like, T1 looks
Terus makan
scary.
nih,
Like,
terus
they
tuh.
looked strong.
Semoga
Sias
menang
firing on all
easy 2-0,
cylinders. But
amin.
at the
Full match nggak? Full
end of
match.
the day, they
Full
still
match guys,
won
full match.
pretty
Cuman ya ini.
Yeah, I feel like we're
Apa
actually not going to be
nanti
seeing
setelah
the
kelar
same
aku mau
Paperrex
pindahin
that
kalian
we
tuh ke
did
Kak Miti biar kenalan sama Kak
As we
Miti yang belum
prepare
kenal
for
guys ya.
maybe a Paperrex that's
Supaya
a
tahu
bit
guys, watch party
slower,
Paperrex tuh official sekarang ada
as
4 guys.
aggressive.
That's
I mean, that might be-
Dari itu
that
2
might
guys.
be a
Nggak
bold
ada Tiana sama
prediction on
Cocok
my end.
bang.
I'm not
Aku
saying that
lagi
it's not
di ini
exactly a
guys,
bad
lagi apa?
Paperrex. It might be a new one.
Lagi
It
di
might be actually
Lombok belum
something
enak
that's
cowok,
a
nggak ada
little bit more
headset, nggak ada
controlled.
apa-apa guys. Jadi
Yeah,
kurang
I mean,
enak
I'm
ntar
curious
aja.
to see what kind of composition.
Oke, ntar aja guys ya.
Because if they're going to be running
tekstur perih banget bang, emang iya dari di global sport nggak begitu padahal guys ya.
could see the aggression continuing from this team.
Gambarnya nggak nge-stress kan guys ya, gambarnya nggak nge-stress kan, nggak ketarik gitu kan.
And also the question of a lot of people still seem to favor Raze on a lot of these maps, and some
Jing
things
masuk roster nggak bang? Enggak dong.
Jet, we even saw him piloting the breach a couple times on
Tidak
Fracture in
dong,
the past. Now
tidak
Gecko
dong.
on Sunset in the off season, so
Lagi
does something
jalan-jalan lu
flex a
kerja
bit
dong.
more.
Iyalah, satu match aja sih, untungnya untuk satu match doang ya. Sebenarnya kemarin RRQ gue pengen nonton juga guys, pengen watch party juga, cuman karena sinyalnya kurang bagus di Gili. Kan kita kemarin pertama kali dan landing tuh langsung ke Gili, jadi kayak sinyalnya kurang bagus. Kalau misalnya di Gili tuh nggak bisa watch party guys.
For PaperRX building something into a bit of a
Bagus gambarnya, cuma muka lu kuat aja kurang lah aja. Tarik ya. Jadi lonjong gitu guys, jadi lonjong ya.
So that's actually a really scary prospect. And if it's something that they have been working on since
Oh, di GE dia ngamen duelis bang. Oh, I see.
This could be very scary for
Mungkin
every
bener sih,
single team out there.
mungkin
TRX
iya,
trying to
mungkin iya
reclaim
guys.
the throne. If something is able to play a couple other roles.
Maaf deh guys ya kalau grafiknya grafik pengunjung, maaf banget dah ya.
Basically, we're not sure what to expect at this point.
Yang penting masih sempat live stream
going
coy.
up against, we don't.
Ini udah jam 1 bentar lagi coy, kalau mulai guys ya.
During the
Hello.
offseason as well, even giving more chance for Jing to kind of show his stuff one last time on a couple of those games, and that was great to see. But again, therefore, I mean, Solo mentioned in the interview of like, well, we just don't have tape to study. Like, we don't know what they're going to come out with. We don't know what this core five looks like of PaperX. And everyone's expecting, like you said, Mika, like, is it slower? PaperX is even faster? Like, are they flexing everybody because they have Mind Freak and the Solo on a couple maps as well?
Gue cek dulu guys, Ini auto, ini enggak?
I think it's one of the biggest mysteries that we're going to have here in Pacific, right? What type PaperX are people?
Bentar ya, gue reset bentar ya OBS-nya, bentar boleh nggak guys? Boleh nggak guys?
For 2024 on the Pacific League stage, and I feel like everybody here is very
boleh guys, bentar ya. Bentar aja guys.
The winner of this series becomes the first team to qualify into playoffs and are that much closer to Masters Madrid.
Coming to the past.
Yeah, and of course, also getting first place in Kickoff gives you
udah belum guys.
one step closer towards
Riverville lah.
Then you go to Madrid if you win that
belum.
as well, so you kind of
Aman guys ya. Bentar
to go
guys,
all the way to
OBS.
champions now in Seoul.
Nggak
for
ninja,
2024,
kocak.
and that would be the absolute best start for people.
Aman ya. Ini udah nggak stres ya harusnya guys.
So much. I'm looking so
Aman ya, guys,
forward
udah
to
nggak
just
stres
all
gitu.
of the absolute.
Cuman karena ini guys, resolusi laptop gue tuh beda, nggak 1980 cuy.
This is how Sentinels get
Ada potongan dikit nggak apa ya, kiri kanan ada hitam dikit nggak apa guys ya.
We should do that to this
Biar nggak ketarik bro.
Start writing all over this thing.
By the time Kickoff ends, you're gonna see all of
Ya,
this covered
nggak apa-apa ya,
in
nggak
like our
apa-apa ya.
notes and everything. There's like
Gak
some
apa-apa
kind of
guys ya.
string theory happening.
Soalnya resolusi laptopnya nggak 1080 cuy. Jadi pasti ketarik guys. Kalau ketarik jelek. Kalau lu menggema bang. Oke nih gue taruh depan muka deh. Ya oke gini nih. Dan nih. Aman ya. Sendirian bang, itu ada anak-anak lagi pada tidur. Pada tidur guys, pada capek dari curug.
Of course, we have PRX and a GEN.G, and it is so exciting to welcome,
Nih,
the
kecilin
champions
dikit
from
bang,
last
gema
year,
bang.
Pacific
Oke, ini gue
champions
kecilin
last
guys, nih gue
over
kecilin nih.
back to the Pacific League stage, and I feel like for GEN.G, this is going to be a tough fight. Like they drew the shortest straw, so to say. It's like, we're up against Paperrex this time around, right?
I mean, group of death, like Solo said. I think
Baru pulang guys
everyone
kita
would agree
guys.
for this.
Tadi kita
Whether it's
pokoknya
RRQ
hari
or
ini
GEN.G, it's a group of death no
streamer
matter
maksa
what.
stream
And the
podcast.
biggest thing is I don't know if
Dari
GEN.G
bang.
necessarily has as much of a home crowd buff
Jadi tadi kan
either,
aku kan
because PaperX has gained
hari
a
itu
lot
kita
of fans
nge e-sport
over
itu
the
kita
years, especially after last year lifting that trophy
Curug
over
gitu kan,
TRX
Curug apa
and then
namanya?
going and representing
Ke
Pacific
Curug,
all the way to the
Stokkel
grand
apa
finals
gitu,
of
benang
champions.
Stokkel kalau
Even the
nggak salah.
Korean fans are like PaperX
Ke
is where it's at, right?
waterfall,
They're the reps of
main
Pacific.
air,
So GEN.G
air
has a lot
waterfall,
of work cut out for him.
bagus, udah kelar, terus balik guys. Antar Kak Rachel sama Pandi ke airport duluan, ini balik duluan. Terus balik ke villa nih, gue baru sempat live stream makanya. Tinggal kalian. Ini GH baru kan? Bukan kocak. Di Lombok jam berapa? Beda sejam doang, salah jam 2. Pergi dong.
It's nowhere close to what we expect coming into the season. You know, we've been on, we've been on Plat Chat, etc. People have been doing their own power rankings and stuff. We have been so far off the mark already within the first 2 days, and things, could course correct with a little bit more time. Maybe things do settle into that.
Karena tracknya nggak bagus soalnya. Lumayan pegel tapi nggak sepegel itu lah.
It seems like pretty much everybody was
Ekal, kamu orang Lombok, Ekal.
wrong about, I don't know what, from second all the way down to 11th.
Yeah, and the big thing is again, that's off the back of
suara
all of these
VCT-nya
new
gede nggak sih,
faces,
guys?
right? Where we heard some hype about some of them, but the question always remains, but how do you perform against the other T1 teams and players, right? How do you perform against other Pacific teams? And now, for someone like Karen, it's like, well, how do you perform against PaperRX, all teams that you'd have to face in your very first debut in the VCT? He has to prove himself, just like
jam 2:10 biasanya udah mulai sih. Harusnya ya udah start game-nya ya.
Challengers as well, but Karen has to come in and say, you know what, I've been ready for this, I've been coached through this as well, alongside my teammates, because those are some veterans who have played against the PRX boys quite a few times.
Coba aku mampir ke Miti dulu, guys.
Has to be able to hold his ground.
I love that these rookies, the new faces here, they're like the
Mampir ke
special
Miti, guys.
seasoning
Nih, Miti,
over
guys.
here in Pacific.
Miti udah pakai baju PRX, let's
that
go.
We thought we knew it, and suddenly you have new names come on board, and Zeta is looking incredible right now. We have
Sebenarnya enaknya Pawas Party di rumah sih, guys. Cuman mau nggak mau, guys.
Looks like, you know, they could
Mau
be
nggak mau, guys, ya.
for, qualifying into playoffs or
Untuk
really
match kali ini aja, guys, ya. Nggak apa-apa ya.
surely should
Nggak apa-apa ya.
teams. But now it's kind of like, again,
Nggak apa-apa ya, nggak apa-apa ya.
rate everything, and we're kind of like all off the mark. But I feel like it's really on the back of those new names, those rookies that had that X factor this time around.
And that's so exciting, right? I think that's something that Pacific as a region has been starving for, quite frankly, because there just wasn't as much history.
Di Lombok sampai kapan, Bang? Sampai
but just in the last 2 years,
Iya,
we've seen this
PRX
surge coming up.
Apa tuh ngomongnya,
So
guys?
I mean, this is exciting that it's not
Di
just
ngomong,
like
guys.
one country either, across the different countries, whether it's academy players, whether it's
Iya, kalau PRX tadi dulu pasti ada aja Bang perginya. Iya, nggak tahu kenapa, guys. Udah 2 kali, guys. Kemarin lagi di Thailand nggak salah ya terakhir ya. Yang match yang lawan di RX tuh gue inget banget, guys. Gue lagi di Thailand itu sama anak-anak. Tapi selalu perginya sama Jai Sport. Selalu nggak pas gitu, guys. Kenapa ya? Kenapa ya? Karena ada anak-anak gitu tidur, bobo.
Completely subverted. You know,
Kepres baru udah dapet, Bang, belum dapet.
making their debut,
Jauh kirimnya dari Singapura.
They pretty much
Nanti, guys,
all looked
minta
absolutely
lagi.
incredible.
Belum dapat. Kalau Miti enak, guys, tinggal pakai doang, cuy. Tinggal pakai, guys, dikirim image dipakai. Kalau Miti enak, guys, tinggal kirim image pakai. Kalau gua kan harus kirim picik ya. Fandi udah balik ya? Fandi OTW hari ini. Anjay, movie-nya, guys, nonton guys.
솔직히 작년은 이제 더 이상 생각하기 싫은 시즌이 아니었나 생각합니다.
Anjay.
誰と対峙しても新しいメンバーたちで新しい波を立てます。
Jeta.
Our dream
Ada
is
Papi
stronger
Bain, guys.
this year, but we grew stronger as well.
Tapi kalian nonton nggak, guys? Kalian nonton nggak? Beberapa match VCT Pasific ini, guys. Kalau kalian nonton semua, sekarang tuh rata-rata jagonya sama, guys. Kalau ada GEN.G, RRT, Global Esport, Zeta, dan lain-lain tuh semua tuh tipis-tipis skornya, ya nggak sih? Bleed. Ya nggak sih, guys? Merasa nggak sih, guys? Semua tuh tipis-tipis, kekuatannya tuh kayak belum kebaca gitu semuanya, guys. Gue nontonin kemarin sih kayak tipis-tipis skornya, jadi kayak menurut gue Pasifik kali ini tuh rata, guys. Jadi belum tentu ada tim yang sangat kuat itu belum kelihatan, guys, yang kuat banget. PRX pun gue juga pengen lihat, dan tapi gue optimis ya dengan kedatangannya Monyet pasti mainnya lebih serem lagi, coy. Tapi let's see, guys, ya.
We are completely a different team now. We are gonna show you guys the new RRQ this year. We can be a lot more aggressive.
Kalau VCT tahun lalu tuh masih banyak yang badut, ada yang badut. Di FM pun katanya lumayan kuat, guys. Kayak lumayan bisa ngimbangin di RX gitu loh. Di papan atas. Secret dibantai ya. Secret gue belum lihat sih. Mungkin Secret sih yang agak turun mungkin ya. Cuman selain itu, guys, T1 gila, udah accurate kuat banget, cuy. Udah kapan pulang? Besok. Besok, guys.
I'm super excited to showcase myself in the Pacific Kickoff.
Anjay, bleed, ya, El Diablo. Tiket yang kurang, tapi yang lain mostly sih semuanya tuh kayak rata sekarang, guys. Gua nggak tahu sih. Semoga something headshotin orang ya hari ini, guys, ya. Sama Jason bantai-bantai, guys. Semoga hari ini, guys. Semoga ya, guys, ya.
이번 시즌 T1은 자유로운 스타일을 가진 팀이 될 것 같아요. 이제 경기 시작하면은 누가 진짜 잘하는지
Di FM kasih menang tuh, tapi di FM udah lumayan mainnya, tahu nggak sih guys? Kan masa nggak sih di FM udah lumayan?
There is a unique strength of our team. We don't care who we face and we don't care how hard it is. No matter what happen, we will always win.
Oh, main tai.
Everyone knows that we're the champion.
Ini berak di sembarangan.
This time we will get even more stronger than before.
Udah tidur guys. Anjay, PRX bro. Anjir, PRX DRX bro. Final. Anjay. Gila guys. Apakah pembalasan dari Bas akan datang ataukah tetap ya PRX akan memegang piala tahun ini guys ya. Amin. Amin guys. DRX kemarin DRX kuat gak sih guys? Kapan Bang Winda streaming game RPG? Bang Winda masih di Lombok, kocak ya. What do you think guys? Kemarin DRX guys, mainnya gimana guys? Kok nge-lag cowok nih barusan. Gak sama Miti. Gua lagi nggak pakai headset guys, soalnya ribet kayaknya deh kalau nggak pakai headset bro. Pakai laptop doang soalnya guys live streaming ya. Anjay, my boys, Paper Boys, let's go.
After a wave of changes, stronger teams were waiting in the wings.
Grand Final, Grand Finalis, Champion 2023. Koko Jason, Koko Aaron, Koko Davai. Ngeri. LFG guys. Ada monyet nih, mau buka monyet? Ayo, Caya, tolonglah Caya, kasih tahu. Res lu yang dulu bantai-bantai di Onyx Caya, kasih tahu aja, bantai bro. Bajunya bagus ya? Baju yang baru bagus ya guys, udah bisa di-order guys ya di linknya PaperX guys ya, di Tokopedia belum ada tau gue, belum dikirim. Nanti next ya guys ya, next stream kita mabar sama Caca Michi ya.
Rev up the engine and keep the momentum going for the return of the ultimate GEN.G.
GEN.G. Oh, surf di GEN.G ya? Itu surf bukan sih? Oh, laki ya. Gue kira surf aja, mirip surf coy. Bagus bang, lebih menyala anjay, gitu dong. Laki ya dari bekas pemain apa sih? Pemain Korea kan, pemain Korea. GEN.G lumayan berubah sih guys. Datang tekstur dari GE, Lakia dari Korea. Anjay, ngeri bro. Ini setengah 3 sore bang, jam 2:10 sekarang guys. Sana, sini maksudnya di sini guys. Suara aman nggak? Mau gedein nggak guys? Gedein suaranya ya. Suara aman guys? Suara minus 1 kuping nggak? Kok nggak di studio lu yuk? Masih di Lombok guys. Masih di Lombok. Guys. Mari kita bersama-sama bersiap untuk melihat match pertama Kickoff VCT Pasific untuk PaperX guys ya. Masih di Lombok guys. Semoga PaperX bisa bermain bagus guys ya. Yuk guys, boleh. Sebelum mulai, kita menyatukan kekuatan kita untuk berdoa bersama untuk PaperX guys ya, oke?
Versus GEN.G. This is going to be so interesting because we have two teams that can be very
Amin guys. Amin. Kapan pulang? Besok. FC Burik bang, udah sih gak apa-apa guys. Burik FC gue, penting ada FC bro.
For the side of GEN.G. So as we were saying,
SK
we're
Burik
not
parah.
sure what agent composition we're going to get, but these maps are going to be pretty determinant of that.
Yeah, well, we'll get maybe a better idea as far as what they're going to be.
Gak kuat guys, ini bitrate-nya gak kuat bro.
Maps that do come up when they played against RQ, we saw Icebox split as well.
Gak bisa guys, ini mentok guys kualitasnya guys.
Bringing up Bree, so we will get a new look on this squad. Big question is, Do they play Yoru?
Yeah, but if they do, that is some tape that Gen.G
Wah,
actually
Breeze cok,
has.
Yoru sih. Jason Yoru nggak sih guys?
Historically,
Jason Yoru nggak sih?
a lot. So I actually like this pick from Gen.G, especially with the option for things like the Operator, the Outlaw on this squad of Gen.G.
I mean, I'm wondering if Gen.G are going to be playing that Yoru as well. You know, do we get to
Ya
see
terus
that
percayaannya
coming
yuk.
through? Not something I
guys.
believe the textures really
Aduh,
play
udah live streaming
maybe
di
a
Villa aja
handful
masih
of
ngoceh
times in
ya.
his career, but
Fokus game aja sih,
none of
udah
them
sih.
really spring to mind. But Lotus coming in for PaperX, this just feels like maximum comfort. And overall, it is a map that there's an immense amount of tape on for them. So Gen.G could have, you know, and will have had
Evan ke Evan lagi. Evan ke
Looks
Evan
like
di
Gen.G
band.
have heard rumors of the age of Yoru making a comeback,
Apa
and
nih
they're
guys
like, oh,
kelasnya?
we remember
Kelasnya apa,
PRX
Cok?
Unbind. Let's not do that, right?
Yeah,
that one.
Ron Jakarta besok.
Yeah, I mean, definitely banning that out as well, and also I think
Let's
accepting that the
go,
old
let's
way
go, guys,
that,
let's
you know,
go, guys.
some of these players and the coaching staff used to play Bind no longer works. A lot of them used to actually have a lot of pride on Bind, but things have changed.
Gen.G juga serem ya,
in
Breeze-nya ya?
several different ways. So that is going to
Sunset,
leave
bro, let's go.
Sunset, which again, some tape from Paperrex, though surely there could be a lot of changes as well.
Yeah, I mean, we saw them.
RT-nya HD banget bang.
versus
Udah guys,
Sentinels, they
ngoceh
did.
mulu
They
guys
had a
kalian
pretty
guys.
close one in the grand final, and like you mentioned before, you know, had to run that back versus T1 as well.
Ini Wifi Lombok nggak kenceng bro. What do you expect bro? What do you expect? Ini Lombok guys, kepulauan ya. Ini bukan Jakarta, oke? What do you expect, brother? Something.
And meanwhile, we have Astra for Keren as well for Gen.G.
3 controller, what?
I'm actually okay with this. I think if you're going to play double
What?
controller, there's some options for that Astra as well, especially because you have the Cypher to really anchor down one site. But the single duelist Yoru for PaperX.
What?
We've seen
And
again.
triple control.
Yes, and triple control as well,
Yeah.
right? And Magnet and that Omen.
What?
So Magnet should be a lot more aggressive.
What happened,
So he's gonna
guys?
be
I just see
acting
this.
as kind of that secondary
Jujurly,
role
gua yang
alongside
orang
Yoru.
PaperX juga nggak tahu.
Able to
PaperX
actually
punya
make
style main
very
kayak gini
different
guys ya,
angles
nggak tahu lah.
That means that with this matchup right here, a single duelist
Lucian Yoru, Cok.
on Breeze will finally get a win. The
Monyet
question
siapa?
is,
Monyet
is it
PRX
gonna be the
kocak.
Jet or is it going to be the Yoru here?
Orang
On the
Indo,
side of
bro.
PaperX, 'cause so far we have only
Menarik
seen
guys,
success
menarik
from
guys
the
ya, menarik ya. Kita lihat guys ya, menarik nih, menarik guys. Sangat menarik guys ya. 3 controller bro.
W Gaming. So let's get this first match started. PaperX versus Gen.G. Over to him.
Tapi satu duelis bener sih, satu duelis tuh bukan PaperX banget bro. Ini agak gimana ya? Tapi let's see guys, gue nggak tahu sih setupnya kayak gimana guys. Kalau 3 controller kayak begini setapannya gue penasaran bro. Terus yang main sofa main freak nih, Dan monyet dari Global Esport guys, pemain Indo yang smokernya Global Esport dulu guys ya. Oke, let's go. Oke, have fun, good game, well play. Bukannya.
Absolutely. Now, looks like PaperX is going to be starting, to spread their wings a little bit all across the map. And this is, I think, the good thing about that triple controller comp is you do have so many options to blot a good chunk of a big map such as this Breeze.
Especially on the attack, right? Just having 3
sets
of smokes to cycle through, you can see that they already sent out a high tide across A. It creates a bit of pressure, but at the same time, it's still
kasih tahu ya Ilya ya.
this B site. I think Gen.G gets a bit of information.
Gen.G ada 2B, 1 di CT, 2A. Dia si Sky nunggu rotate guys. Nunggu info dia guys. Oh, mainin orb guys. Oke, something main orb ya.
So many options they can choose for, and
Something
they're
low lagi
just
tuh.
making sure that Gen.G has to just commit a lot of their stars for the start of this.
Penasaran gue sumpah guys
Also,
Gen.G.
just with the gate crash that something is using, they're going all over the map, but here it comes.
Yeah, Tripwire on that A site. This is the Yoru though, so he can bypass it. Needs to break it. Munchkin has been given up already. Right in front of him. 2 onto contact.
Nice! Nice pistol round.
The blink of an eye. Rest of Gen.G will have to go on.
Davai sabar.
But look at how far Davai has pushed up on Halls.
Davai sabar.
Vanguard for the moment. Holding, whiffing.
Aduh, Davai whiff bro. Why?
The rest of PaperX.
Dua lo lagi
It
Cok.
was a good hit nonetheless, and they know that there are players coming from Bridge, coming from Halls, and that just confirms a lot of it.
Okay, dash in.
Aduh, monyet.
Very aggressive into this as well as uber confident, but of course, PaperX just going to be playing that post plan. Something coming around the corner, repositions, has to help out his team. Right at the precipice of the smoke, push from Dexter. Second, he can. 5 bullets, dashes right in.
Aduh!
Picks up the 4K.
No way! first round, already picks up the fourth. You see how he has that trigger discipline. I mean, normally we talk about trigger discipline. You're, you know, hiding, waiting for the opportune moment. He's just waiting to track as the movement slows down. And that is unbelievable.
Okay, it's okay. Nice try.
Finish from that one too. You think that smoke would actually help out PRX?
Tekstur panas banget, Jur.
Absolutely nothing for them as Texture basically got a lot of these segmented 1v1 fights in the span of just a couple of seconds, ultimately turning the hand for Gen.G.
And now they've picked up the Bulldogs. Got an outlaw on Texture. He's looking to pick up the Bladestorm early on.
Kill,
He
bro.
wants to go for this insta peek on A main. PRX, will they give him the satisfaction? He's getting closer. His teammates breaking and giving as much support as possible.
Amat, cok. Tekstur, coy.
It's down already.
I mean, that's the other thing, right? Because it's an outlaw, it's just so powerful. Anything on an eco round, it just chews right through. So these guys, PaperX, they got to be so careful.
You can already see one spotting the tripwire outside of B main. Still, that's not going to stop PaperX from starting to move their forces all the way here. Looks like they're
Tekstur tiba-tiba jadi serem begini, coy. Udah kayak prime-nya 4 second, coy. Nembaknya begitu, bro.
That's looking a little bit iffy. With the stars being committed here as well, and Texture actually pushing all the way up onto mid. This could be very bad for PaperX as the spike drops.
Spike down mid.
Reloads, they know he's here. They don't really want to challenge him. It's way too risky.
Gila, Texture dikasih farming kill, anjir. Banyak banget kill-nya, bro. Farming kill, bro.
You're pretty much stuck inside of B main. Texture, well, Tailwind's away, so maybe got a bit of breathing room, but 30 seconds left, Asterai.
Something's gonna just try to make something happen. You know,
Ayo monyet kasih tau nyet. The best Yoru. Best smoker.
It wants to challenge out again the outlaw of Texture, but when it's 140 body shot damage and you have shield or half shield, it's just not gonna work. You're just feeding him the kills.
Dikasih S, bro.
2 rounds in to the first map of this game.
Wow, that's just a big boost of
9 kill round 2, bro. Apa-apaan dah nih orang, bro. Punya ulti, bro.
Yesterday he said he was hangry.
Bang, quality burik, Bang. Maaf, guys. Internetnya kurang kuat, guys.
This is a whole new look.
Patah-patah, sabar. Ntar nggak patah-patah kok, sabar ya.
Also just, you know, PaperX, they had sheriffs, they, you know, they're just trying to
banget,
maybe go
bro.
for some
Pusing
picks
kepala
or
gue, guys.
spike plan.
Patah-patah, Bang. Sabar, guys. Internetnya paling lagi nge-lag. Sabar.
A little bit surprising.
There's so many players, I think, in this 2024 Pacific League that is on their revenge arc, right? Like Lenny, not getting the chance to play for Team Secret, and Texture, as the Des was mentioning, not having any opportunity to showcase his duelist, but here comes the dueling potential for something as he pushes up onto Orange. Any tricky business? Spots one, getting into the astral dimension, goes out, flashes, he still challenges something, he's gotta make something happen
terlalu
here.
over, guys, overpick.
Get it.
Dapat 2, coy, mereka.
3 versus 3, spike planted down.
You got the Cascade up as well, so there's a lot more room for Forsaken trying to play around this, pushing Gen.G back. They want to burn down the timer and they want to stay alive as long as possible.
Yeah, Munchkin's coming around the corner here on double doors. They're just waiting for him to drop down already. Forsaken's right here for the first contact. Gets punished by Meteor. He's going to be alone by himself. 1 versus 1 though. Dubai, unknowing of where his opponent might be, not spotting Meteor, getting closer and closer. He might not even know about this. There it is. No more utilities for Meteor, so it's a straight up start of the defuse. Dubai playing.
Tapi abis banget drone itu, coy. Abis duitnya. Grafik deep web ini, Bang. Kalau nge-lag, maaf, guys. Sorry, guys.
I mean, you gotta love the utility that PaperX uses. You can see that.
Kalau gue lihat guys ya gameplaynya, gameplaynya. Ini gameplaynya bukan gameplay trade PaperX guys. Ini gameplaynya gameplay maju aja guys. Maju pantang mundur, bro.
Monyet is already there, kind of like what Will said on the desk. That secondary duelist instantly trading back and forth for the.
Kalau grafik komunon, mohon maaf guys, sumpah ini kalian tahu nggak sih internet Lombok itu nggak sebagus internet Jakarta, ngerti nggak sih? Hello. I'm sorry kalau masih nge-lag. Sorry ya.
There's not really much utility that can really punish him, but okay, gravity will activate it, stuns as well, and that's gonna be as the dust settles. 2 kills down against Gen.G. PaperX have somewhat of an advantage here. Oh, still pushing through the smoke! Bajara with a double kill! Triple kill, why don't you? And MyFreak is alone by himself on Halls.
I can't believe that he reacted to that so quickly. I thought the Cascade would at least mask PaperX's intentions for just a second, but he reacts just as quick.
Karen's just so fast at being able to just get these punishes. MyFreak's giving away his position. Of course, Texture's not going to miss the beat.
That's not good, bro. That's not good!
Rex, they've been wanting to get this A main control for the longest time, but the smokes, man, the peek outs and the flashes just, even though they have the triple controller, it doesn't seem like it's it's giving them any leeway.
Yeah, not yet. That's the thing. I mean, the smokes are still just smokes, and without the flashes, dude, Keren was just popping off in that round. Round 5, this guy has 6 kills already.
Ini gue nggak tahu ya kenapa guys ya. Kenapa 3 kontrol gini guys? Ini buat defense kah? Gue nggak tahu guys. Sumpah guys. Gue pusing nih guys. Gue pusing guys ya. Permainan tidak pernah gue lihat guys. PRX playstyle kayak begini bro.
Still wanting to get that quick contact, feeding all the orbs for something. This is a pretty good idea, I'd still say, because if he does keep getting that dimensional drift of his, it does give them a lot more access into the back of the site, but of course they still have to deal with this close contact that Lakia is setting up on A.
Yeah, with the positioning that Gen.G has, that classic 2-on-2 split. Oh, actually it's a 1-1-3 split. 3 stacked up.
Agentnya
It's
kurang
just a
nih
little bit tougher for
coy.
PRX to break through. You got the stars as well, and those are really, really annoying. So maybe trying to bait around it, trying to, bait Keren into a peak. But then you also got to worry about texture in this op.
This is the problem about having a flash initiator. You just can't really flush out these set angles that they just break that. PRX break that themselves. Anyways, hold on. There's going to be 2 on the side itself. It's Keren and Texture on that contact.
Aduh, gila guys, susah guys ini.
Texture, he doesn't respect this wall.
Susah ini
He
guys.
just goes and swims through with the high tide, giving him the high time. And now it's
Aduh,
only
lumayan cok.
Mindfreak
Nasiko dapat 2 guys.
The pitch coming in from double door doesn't secure anything, so that has to be Divide just putting up the toxic screen, hoping that Mindfreak could deal with Texture. It's not going to happen. He only has the Sheriff in hand. 3 versus 1, 20 seconds. He's going to have to start pushing in, but because of how much out the open he is, he's going to be...
Nasiko guys, dapat 2. Nasiko.
And that's going to be the 4-1 for Gen.G.
Yeah, Gen.G are feeling fired up, having won those rounds against PaperRX. They're like, yo, you guys think you're the kings of Pacific. Wait till you see what we've got. I mean, this Gen.G, Texture on the op, Keren popping off with kills. They are able to play these anti-flash positions on the A site.
Texture harus di-shutdown sih guys. Lagi overheat banget Texture bro, buset dah.
Like that off of, something on the Yoru, you've got...
Gue nggak tahu sih guys tujuan 3 kontrol buat apa, gue nggak tahu guys ya. I don't know, let's see.
Not quite landing as it needs to.
I usually talk about win conditions, and
gue jujur nih nggak tahu guys tujuan 3 kan diomelin lo. Ayo lo diomelin lo, ayo lo.
We're already seeing what was lacking, and it feels like they need that bit of information on who's in the back of the site. The problem is the dart's
ayo diomelin lo sama coach lo, diomelin lo, ayo lo.
Unless again,
ayo lo.
And the scouting power of that dimensional drift. So what's going to be the adjustment here for PaperRX? What happens when they don't have those tools available for them? When again, like you're mentioning, they're only really relying on the triple smoke to kind of blot out these.
Aduh kakak, terima kasih dukungannya untuk PaperRX kakak. Arigato gozaimasu.
Just using that tailwind to get out of harm's way.
Yeah, precisely right. I mean that's the other thing. It's just having those 3.
Apakah teori memberikan 1 map guys? Nggak. 13 kill bro.
Just
Imaron bro.
block off vision.
Damn.
And maybe block off certain areas. Make sure that Texture can't really dominate the map in his current fashion. So whatever it is, that's kind of.
Gak apa-apa lu ngomong enak banget Gaidan ya. Gak apa-apa bang,
breaks. And right now, we shall see what kind of effect it has.
Well, Reckoning and Dimensional Drift is available for 2. Oh, I love this push from Texture, and he almost finds something.
Who's next?
And something doesn't waste any time, though. He does use his ultimate to start clearing things up. Reckoning coming in from double doors, and he already finds 1. Keren could be in a world of hurt. The flash is out, but he's out of harm's way. Back of the side is going to be Meteor, using the cyber cages to give him a bit of positioning here to roam around.
Nice.
Something quickly deals with him, but Keren finds
mati
Forsaken
di mana coy?
through the off-cam kill. Oh, big flash from Lakia. Oh, they don't even expect it.
He gate crashed backwards. I feel like Lakia might have heard it. So now everyone's kind of split up. Device still up towards mid. It's a good bit of vision, but it's a 2-on-3 nonetheless. He can't use the Viper's Pit.
Gak ada jaga flanknya bro, sumpah guys. Gue gak tau kenapa bro ini bro.
I mean, there's even the smoke coming in from double doors. They have really segmented the 2 players of PaperRX. But the Vi, he's hoping to be the savior here. Mindfreak's been given up out in the open. Texture. He's got
nice, Davai menyala bro.
Everything away from him. and that's gonna give PaperX a round.
Wah, si Tekstur ganti Vanda langsung nggak nembak, bro.
They were able to pick them off apart, you know, getting information
Sampai
as to where
tiba-tiba 3
Texture
kill
was
aja, bro.
positioned, as to where the rest of them were trying to approach from. They knew how to find those shots, and that's again something that PaperX
Ini nggak ada flank, ini nggak bisa jaga flank. Gue nggak tahu kenapa guys. Gue nggak tahu segitiga kontrol ini kenapa ya. Tadi gue nggak tahu sih guys. Ini strategi gue nggak tahu guys.
Towards orange, towards bridge side, and from that point he was able to find that back flank.
Dava lagi nyala banget guys. Ini Dava nyala banget.
That broke apart that A line of defense for Gen.G.
Resolusinya kurang bagus bang. Iya guys, soalnya di laptop gue itu beda nggak 1080. Mohon maaf ya.
If they actually just start, you know, hunkering their way onto the A side, which ultimately, as you mentioned, you know, with what you said, works in
kalau
favor of
smokers
PaperX
sih
on
guys.
that push.
That said, though, we still need a few more rounds.
Gue belum lihat ada kayak line up gitu loh guys, kayak Flash Sova, Recon apa digabung. Gue belum lihat guys masalah nih.
He's already preparing himself.
Ya ampun.
Monyet
matinya kenapa gitu mulu dah.
That's gonna be the punish on Monyet. Waiting for the rest of PaperX to come through that B side. There's so many tripwires here. It might get a little bit tricky, but something just slowly walks up. That's all you need, you know. Just keep it simple, keep it safe.
And that's the thing about New Breeze as well. This backside, back walls, you are able to sneak up on front like that.
Nice banget, nice smoke, Jason.
So now that the spike has gone down, Gen.G are sensing that they don't quite have the timing on this retake. ZOWIE.
Yeah, he's going to be the first contact on this 3 waterfall down mid. He's already been spotted. Oh, Forsaken's not hitting any shots. Finally, he does able to do so. And the pinch works out, leaving Texture by himself. But man, he's got some options here. Time might not be one of them though, so...
Nice, Mind Freak.
Through the smoke, or through the toxic streak.
Bikin dia miskin guys, beli OP terus guys.
Something.
Let's go.
Wanna pick it up? Wanna use it?
Tahun lalu WLP was party di Thailand, sekarang di Lombok bang.
Yeah, maybe no.
Sorry ya.
The impact of Alex's
Sorry.
Right? Just called from the previous round. Now they've won 2 in a row. And you can see the clear idea and game plan, how they make use of these smokes, how they use something to really creep in, cut out space, and really walk off and cause a lot.
Kalau nge-lag, I'm sorry guys. Kalau misalnya burik, I'm sorry karena belum di studio guys. Next watch party ya baru di studio guys ya.
Yeah, they just again they're starting.
Anak J lain terkenal lagi tidur pada capek abis main air terjun guys.
Very quickly to turn around for PaperX. Again, makes Gen.G quake
Your
in their
virus
boots.
protection
This is
expired.
where
Emang ya guys.
I think it makes a lot of sense to again just take a step back first because they were putting a lot of emphasis on using Texture as that big contact, but when he really can't find a contact, it feels like there's not a lot of options here for Gen.G to kind of try to do something else on that. Sure, you get the offhand kill from time to time as they start to creep up onto a certain position, but PaperX, I feel with the composition they've had, they're so flexible at just getting those kills even when it's a 4 versus 5 as they push up into a site. I mean, even if it could be like a 3 versus 5 because of how many smokes they can keep utilizing to block
kayak timeout GEN.G guys. GEN.G mulai panik guys ya melihat performa PaperX yang tiba-tiba naik ya guys ya.
I love how
they're
using this third controller.
Aku nggak ikutan tidur bang, aku watch party dulu bro.
It's more of a lurker of all things.
Watch
party
kalian tidur.
As he deploys his toxic screen, he's like, I'm good. I can hang back towards mid. I can get further information, try to cut off rotations as Gen.G tries to retake. And that is something that we've seen him do a couple of rounds now. He is that top fragger for PaperX.
And additionally, I mean, if anybody pushes through that, you know, vulnerability as well as the decay makes challenges or fights for him quite easy. Anyways, PaperX now looking to go for that B site.
Apa dia mau nyemok apa aja guys, gue bingung guys. Let's see guys ya.
So they are breaking as much utility as they can. And of course, yep, I love this. When you use the decoy, it activates the trip, so at least you'll know where not to push. Meteor is doing his damnedest to just, again, dodge everything, but it's not working. It's a lot of kills already positioned here for the favor of PaperX. Lost at the back of the
nice!
Make a bit of way of the back of things, but
let's go.
Finishes it off, and we are tied 4-4.
It is
let's go.
After all, but what a bit of an execute. PaperX, you got the fake out.
GEN.G watch party gimana guys? GEN.G guys.
How to work against Meteor setup, and that's the main thing. They want to counter that Cypher pick. They
GEN.G
want
watch party emang apa
way to go through, and they've done it. Monyet can always shrouded step over it. He is that
secondary. Lagi nyala banget cuy,
Something as the
Dava panas banget guys.
In space, he can break open those trips and create a bit of flashes for his team, and it just does so much. Sometimes Gen.G doesn't quite know how to react, so there definitely is some changes in terms of that defensive setup.
Dia beli OP lagi guys. Bisnya beli OP miskin nih.
Committing on this operator of his, something one away from the dimensional. Imagine just like as texture,
like,
seeing that out of the open, right? Anyways, he's already committed to Tailwind, so might as well over push just in case he can get that again.
Lu duluan aja,
kill, if ever.
Pergi duluan.
Seems like because they spotted get texture on B or an A, excuse me, they're just gonna bring the whole enchilada on that B site.
Yeah, why not? We know we can avoid that off. We can just go straight for Meteor. We can go straight for Munchkin. Take out those two, and then we have the site. Seekers were deployed by Lakia, though, he's already here to reinforce. Something's trying.
Something nembak apa, bro?
Yeah. Two on the interior of the site, excuse me. Monyet trying to find somebody inside the smokes, and it is so confusing to be in all of that positioning. Somehow, it is Gen.G getting on top of things. Monyet, no ultimate for him, so he's stuck here until ZOWIE comes in. So he is waiting for his teammate to give him that assistance. 4 seconds on the clock, and this is a pretty smart move from Paperrex now that they still have that toxic screen to block away that control at the back of the site, where you already see Caron getting closer. He might not be spotted, as well as texture coming in from B main.
Yeah, that's the main thing. They gotta watch all exits, all entrances of this Viper's Pit. Texture could be the linchpin for Gen.G.
That's a shot denied. Shorty's good. And look at that. Caron picks up the 4K, able to isolate, able to feed off of the play. The texture is giving him the opportunity to retake the site and secure the round once again for Gen.G.
Again, right? I mean, this guy, Karen picked up this, I don't want to say streets, but the rookie coming out from like almost nowhere, but proving himself again
Gila, guys,
and again.
Pembeliannya Gen.G ngeri banget ya, tekstur Caron lu 2 biji langsung menyala gitu, guys.
Has picked up some new guns, some new shooters, and they are definitely bringing the challenge.
Absolutely, and again, just not having any form of extra information there for Paperrex.
Spoiler emang iya, guys.
Going blind into calls that they wanted to do. They even saved the operator here for texture, so he's got a chance again to find something. Not the player, but you know, the opportunity to get. I'm gonna have to find another other than something to do this. Anyways, Paranoia is activated. Texture's blinded here. He's looking for a TP, but Lakia is making some waves at the front of the site on Brick.
Nice.
Fortunately,
itu pick yang jelek sih. Itu pick dia yang jelek. Tekstur mulai turu, guys ya.
That's gonna be a secure plant on the spike. Everyone else here for Gen.G looking for the lurk all the way through A main.
Aduh, something. Ini Caron panas banget, bro.
Still somehow Karen
pasti di flank, guys. Kita nggak ada trap di flank ini, bro.
Back to a 3-on-3. Of course, Mindfreak wanting to play off the Hunter's Fury, but he knows that there's a potential flank coming through.
Another one. Meteor gives himself a bit of space. Push left or right. What it's going to be? It's going to be the right. He wins, but he's down to 5. Oh, this is going to be so bad. Difficult even for him. That's going to be
Bang, kok burik amat, Bang? Maaf, guys. Internetnya kurang bagus.
Very confusing
party, guys.
fight there for Gen.G. You saw everybody look everywhere.
Guys, watch party kayaknya kalian ke Kak Miti aja, guys. Kak Miti kan watch party official perdana, guys ya, di Paperrex. So nonton Kak Miti aja, guys. Kak Miti udah pasti bagus, guys ya, watch party. Gua di next live streaming baru di studio, guys ya, oke? Good half, good half.
Kind of comes in with a shorty inside the smokes, and that's what he was known for back on Global Esports last year.
Yeah. Having Lakia choosing whether he has to go for the gunfight or flash for texture here makes it even additionally difficult. Munchkin, he backs away. Look at how close something has already got on the top mid. TP's out. I like the use of the code just to break the tripwire, but at what cost? Forsaken. He's already decayed down to 20, my goodness.
Yeah.
This man is walking on thin ice.
It got a little bit risky because Gen.G are trying to get a good read for the game right now. They've got these 4 players stacked up on B, so able to shoot through. And with the space now,
nice something, dapat 2.
But not quite able to capitalize.
Nice, Davai, nice.
Left pieces of the Paperrex players all around the map sprinkled just to get those lurk kills, and it is actually working for them, especially that Gen.G is on this.
Bang, layarnya kayak Game Boy. Maaf, guys.
To try to
ini lagi live streamnya di laptop, bro.
But Paperrex, it's a lure into their trap, man. They're just
720 udah kayak nonton Nokia 33. Sabar, guys. Mohon maaf, guys ya.
This is the perfect chance for him to get some kind of information, some kind of impact.
You wanted to say something, didn't you?
I stopped myself mid-sentence already, all right? You didn't have to point it out.
I feel ya.
Ya kali dapat kill Caron ya.
That's just the name.
I can already feel the chat, you know. How is this caster?
W in the chat.
No
W in the chat.
Use
Gue main sama lu, Bang. Iya, guys. Maaf, guys ya. Kalau kali ini kalian merasa nge-lag, burem, Nggak apa, sabarin lah, sabarin satu match lah guys ya. Next match PRX udah pasti di studio guys, ini udah pasti rapi guys ya. Oke.
Oh wow, he even finds Monyet.
Oh my god.
That would be great if he could get even more or pick up a rifle at the very least. Look at how he's so careful jump peeking out, but up against Forsaken, of course, it's gonna be the tap that finishes him off.
Nanti guys, nanti bro.
Again, it's just kind of what we saw in the first, right? You know,
Oke. Bisakah dapat 7-5 guys PRX guys dengan 3 ulti guys, 3 ulti bisa sih. Ulti Yoru, gabung ulti Jason, gabung ulti. Wah, ini bisa sih guys. Dapat minimal 2 kill sih. Harusnya si Yoru bisa nge-kill. Jason bisa ngasih info, bisa bantu buat Yoru kill. Aaron juga bantu buat Yoru kill.
GEN.G. And one more round. It is pretty close though. GEN.G's able to get this 5-6, could even be a 6-6 if they play their cards right, but with the Reckoning and Dimensional Drift activated, it could be very difficult, but Texture's already pushed up all the way through elbow. They're not gonna know about this, but he whips! Thankfully enough, he has
apa sih?
PaperreX are dwindling in number.
Nice!
Finds something with the Odin! I go to Spike. And he brings it right back, 3 versus 3. Plenty of walls. Can they calm themselves down to plant the Spike even? Not gonna happen just
apa sih? 3 ulti bro.
Has controlled the back of the site here. Ultimate activated right now by Mindfreak. Big flanks coming in from Munchkin. So the time for Monyet to make something happen is very minuscule here. 2 versus 1. Karon now backing himself away. Gonna double up with his teammate. And this is the perfect time for them to try working their magic against the one. What is this TP? Did he try to pick up a spike? No, he's just trying to reposition for the fight. Very aggressive from Monyet, but it's not gonna work out.
Nice try.
3 ulti loh bro. Nah flank dia kan nggak ada flank gitu guys.
You can pull off that flank. How many flashes?
Kayak dulu si Exia Hidayah Bang Yo. Sabar Gate, maaf Gate.
Holding the angle with the Odin from window, but then afterwards Munchkin coming back again from the same spot that Texture and Lakia approached from. I mean, it's just so confusing that PaperreX, their whole game plan kind of gets thrown off. You can see that what they wanted to do throughout this entire map, which truly was just either going for executes off of Monyet and something, or create a bit of noise, bait out that utility, and then rotate over thanks to their gate crash. Leave Divide on the
halftime guys, halftime bro. Ayo lihat defense guys. Kita lihat defense 3 control guys, gue penasaran ya.
And that's the thing that you don't really have without like a proper-ish Sentinel. Yes, Divide, you got Viper, that's great, but no traps, no info.
Yeah, and again, it takes them a lot of time to just fiddle with their abilities, right? To throw it into a site, you already see how quickly, and you were mentioning this again, Texture is
guys, halftime bro.
That much of a
risk
kurang
kecil bang, face game-nya bang.
To see the limits or see the chinks in the armor of the PaperreX setup. But now as we are flipping the sides here, the question comes into play, what's PaperreX gonna do on that defending side? Are they gonna do something similar to what Talon was doing?
Kalau nge-lag tuh, bukan nge-lag guys, kalau misalnya burik tuh mohon maaf guys, soalnya cuma 3000 Mbps uploadnya guys, I'm sorry. Streamer baru ya, streamer baru.
Who's actually doing a hell of a good job on that Viper of his.
That's the craziest thing. I mean, it's the W Gaming squad. We expect them to push out. Now they've got 3 controllers, and Devi's the one doing all the fragging.
Dafai gila coy, 15-6 coy Dafai guys.
How this will play out. I mean, you don't want to die too early on as a Viper either, right? Because
gimana bang, liburannya asik bro. Kalau asik mah gue kalah masih. Udah pulang belum? Ini kalau udah pulang gue nggak live-nya kayak begini guys.
If that is their game plan.
Speaking of pushing out, there's like 3 players of PaperreX about to have the welcome party outside of A main. Smoke quickly placed there, as well as the Cascade. Shock darts from Mindfreak to dissuade anybody pushing up onto the Hall's position. The swing outs from PaperreX, like I mentioned, because they don't have that Sentinel, they just have to start peeking and pushing, and as well as just getting that contact. Shots through the smoke, able to get Lakia. The push out from Texture, and he finds something.
Aduh, nih Texture serem banget nih Solronnya dah.
Down to 25, but his lethality is still very much felt. Thus settling, numbers favoring GEN.G, Monyet, as well as Divide. Divide's already coming in for the flank here, and Texture, he's very much unaware of it.
He is holding a bit of an off angle though, so Divide can't really just waltz right through that door.
On mid though, that's going to be Monyet by himself. Does have the paranoia. I'm not sure if he actually spotted the other one. Texture, that door closes. The opportunity for Divide is not even possible. Dude had the so close yet so far away situation.
He opened the door again.
Okay, so his positioning is already given. He's pushing out. jumping through the smoke smartly to try to get a coax out of everybody. And this is the thing. Every single opponent of the Vi right now is low. So his Sheriff has a lot of lethality on it.
Just one shot to the body. But look at the position.
Si Texture pinter banget, cuy.
So unaware. And you can see that with how he's moving up here, that he wants to get close against Charon, but he's so afraid of
Maaf guys, internetnya lagi drop, bentar sabar bro.
Even thinking it could be.
Aduh, itu gue juga nge-lag bro.
Could be mid.
Gue pun juga nge-lag guys.
Got a bit of time, but Texture is the main one.
Aduh nge-lag banget cuy. Aduh nge-lag banget.
Did they just barely miss each other? Look at the Vi. I think he heard the drop down too. Texture's about to just peek out. The Vi, can he be able to reel it in?
Aduh nge-lag banget, apa sih cuy?
For the round win! Cool, calm, collected. My man.
Sabar guys, sabar guys, sabar guys. Aduh malah iklan lagi, bab. Kenapa ikan One Piece? King Dava yang menyala bang. Iya bro, ini malah iklan bro. Panjang banget iklannya bro.
That out. Forsaken though, dipping his toes as well into the swing game outside of A main. Oh, Manya, I love this.
Aduh, apa sih picknya Jaso? Ini kenapa?
Just put Forsaken drops. This could be bad. If he re-challenges this once again, he's the only one holding the site for the moment here. And he has to back away.
Ini kalau misalnya kena thrifty sih gue kesel banget guys ya.
The are slowly creeping up back onto A.
Trades the Outlaw for a Bulldog too, just wants additional firepower. We've got a little bit of support from Mindfreak coming through halls just to check. But he's got to be so careful. I mean, Gen.G are bunched up together. It's a full squad of classics and marshals. He hears the jump, gets the first shot.
He gets away too. So no trade here for Meteor. Throws out the recon dart for a bit of that safety. And he's home safe. Wait, no. Okay, now he's home safe.
Gen.G really just wants to wait for more picks and then maybe try.
Streamer of the year nih bro. Ya, sorry guys.
At this point, only 30 seconds left. They have to hightail it to B.
Apa sih ini kenapa pada mati dah? Matinya tuh pada nggak aware bro.
Doing right now, Gen.G might have a better time in this round.
Oh my goodness, Mindfreak couldn't
Apa sih
really do
teman-temannya
anything.
cok?
And the rest of Gen.G gonna be walking up to B.
10 seconds.
It's all up to something. He's got a Guardian. The aim god. Okay, good on the first. Gets the second one instantaneously, but he's dropping in HP and bullets and everything. And it's down once again to Monyet. Oh, was that a tag? It was. Look at how just low both of these players are. I mean, even if Meteor drops down, you can already see Charon waiting patiently at the back of the site.
Apa sih kita thrifty?
Trying to reposition, and Gen.G somehow makes the thrifty round work.
I'll tell you somehow, it was Meteor. All it took was a Marshall, and this guy's still as lethal as he was last year. Maybe not on the Jet anymore, but as soon as he pushes up halls, look at these picks that he's getting. It might not always be headshots, but just because he plays around the space that way, plays around the obstacles, he keeps himself tucked away, and he's always able to chip away at Paperrex bit by bit. That's, you know, something had some nice Guardian kills that was really flashy,
juga
really
lagi turu guys. Jason kenapa
it's
turu
not
Jason?
enough for an anti-eco round that Paperrex was meant to win.
Absolutely. I mean, it just also felt like Paperrex was agreeing to the aim duel. And
Paperrex tuh kayaknya kalau main ini guys nggak ada sentinel guys, lihat guys. Banyak kosong lihat guys, hallnya kosong, midnya kosong, ini gampang banget dimainin cuy.
Just on Marshals, man, they weren't even committing to purchase this, and Forsaken, what was that? Actually gets through the defense, the line of sight, doesn't even have to trigger the trap here, and does get a one-to-one trade. I mean, I don't know how impactful that is.
Mereka tahu Paperrex bakal ngapus, tapi mereka untungnya
nggak ngapus terlalu badal. Very much willing to take those off-angle risks to
ya belum pakai laptop kantor tuh, bukan masalah laptopnya guys, internetnya nggak kuat.
7-7 right now, and that's the main thing. You definitely can't underestimate Paperrex too much, and I think that's why Gen.G are taking things really slow right now. You know, maybe trying to suss out information, but we don't have that much in terms of gathering, right? You got to think about Lakia's guiding light usage. So maybe just executing onto A right now, and it depends on how well PaperX can hold their ground.
What a far smoke from Munyan too.
Nice, gitu dong.
Mindfreak's gonna be gifted himself a Bulldog, and no one's there to trade it for Gen.G. So they get themselves some control, but Karon and Munchkin making quick work of that A site. Gen.G find themselves the advantage.
1 point in the lead. It was against pistols, but you gotta admire how they, went in silently. Made sure that they were, going to pre-fire some of these corners. They checked some of it.
Pusing nih guys.
Although Meteor did die,
Defendingnya malah serem, Jo malah jelek guys.
Used to go up against, Mindfreak up around halls. And relatively clean round for Gen.G, and that's what you would have wanted for PaperX in the previous. So, on to the next. Now, Tex just got enough for the Blade Storm. Doesn't need to buy up. Gen.G's economy starting to flow, Asarai.
Absolutely. They even have themselves Karon's Cosmic Divide. Munyan finding Meteor through the push on A main. This is what they want. They want to stop these multiple angles of attack. Go for a little bit of
nice.
That Gen.G just have to rub their eyes and wait for the blindness to dissipate. And as it does, Munchkin's by himself.
Nice one. Let's go.
Devours, and that's gonna be a flawless round for PaperX.
Nice round. Dia mereka kaya banget guys.
Wow, I mean,
ini kalau mau ngambil map ini, mereka harus jangan kasih ini guys, jangan kasih main ya.
One of these guys have the potential to frag out, and Monyet is single-handedly picking duels outside of, A main. He's got support from the team. You've got Forsaken watching mid. And it's just that much more difficult for Gen.G to really pull off some of these split pushes that they want to go for.
Nice one.
Rethink the strategies.
Wifi dulu bang, baru streaming. Gua kan di villa guys, gua di hotel guys, kagak bisa bayar Wifi bro. Next time gua kalau keluar gua beli ini deh, gua beli apa sih, beli modem router deh guys ya, router yang bisa dibawa guys. Pusing juga gua bro, diomelin bro.
Look at how close something is on this mid control. How risky it is too. A stray pop shot, that smoke going, and there's the pop shot. He's actually getting tagged. He might want to get away right now.
Movement though.
But he did give away his teleport on. He does have the dimensional drift, so he can get away from this without having to use that gate crash. Or because he's in such an off angle and he's that Yoru, he can just do whatever he wants.
Yeah, he's gonna get crashed out now. Definitely doing what he wants. I mean, just getting enough information, or maybe pulling the attention away from Gen.G as they start to go back towards mid. Now the high tide invested. A little bit awkward though with the curve. So Texture has actually made it out to the other side.
He's still doing this. Something.
Udah low banget lu something, lu jangan nge-pick mulu, maju mulu guys.
Shame on me. And then shame on him if he does that again. The wall's dropping down and Forsaken! How he used his teammate as the great bait mate. They thought they wouldn't double up, but he did. He does get some value. 30 seconds left, and Gen.G lose all control of that mid push, but they wait to use that neural tap for that information.
Asteroid, we are fishing out here, but it's big information. Now we know ZOWIE is alone and cold on the B site. Maybe we could harpoon him, but we've got 13 seconds left.
Oh, he's just gonna hold by himself.
Wow.
Again, boys patient. He just has to wait for him to peek into his crosshair, and ZOWIE single-handedly holding this. Can he beat down Meteor? No. But because of the recon dart, he's given away his position. Meteor is just having to hold so many angles. The shock dart! Mindfreak, what are you doing? Have you lost your mind? Are you a freak? Well, he could definitely be. Paranoia misses Meteor. But know exactly where he is. Down to 14. 3 bullets and a dream. And is this dream going to turn into reality? As Monyet denies.
ZOWIE udah ngeri banget sih, padahal cuy mainnya cuy. Ini ZOWIE versi God guys. ZOWIE God ini guys.
All he's got to do is to go in for that burst. So very confident, cool enough. He might be the youngest player, but still has enough experience, and that's one of the things that people don't really know. Might have been a global esports last year, but he has been playing throughout Indonesian Valorant for quite a while. And
gila, spray control apa itu guys, Jackson buset.
And apart from that, also just ZOWIE.
ZOWIE gila men. Gila sih guys.
Mika and Victoria were telling us about this as well. ZOWIE fishes in real life. He is patient. And he knows he turns that situation into a 2-on-1.
Ayo, santai.
He knows that sometimes all he has to do.
Numpang PC ya bang, ini lagi numpang PC guys, numpang PC. Bukan ini numpang internet namanya guys. Numpang Wifi bro.
Makes them try to peek out, makes them want to get as much.
Siapa yang deg-degan dan ingin copot jantungnya? Wah, OP kah? Anjir, something OP deh.
Himself an operator all above here. on Halls, and I really like this because he gets so much information, so much value. His gate crash is about to expire, but shouldn't matter at the moment as Gen.G coming out of elbow.
Yeah, he can always just regroup with his team and other means. Main thing, though, is for Divide to stay alive right now.
Well, he can, especially because of those flashes. But the punishes from the Reckoning as well as the Hunter's Fury does get the value of something, just jumping in and out with the shorty.
I got the spike.
Numbers still favoring Gen.G. All of them now on the
Berapa
site.
ulti dipakai, guys?
What's the damage here? What's the capabilities? Monyet wreaking some havoc outside of Arch, but he's alone. They haven't picked up the spike. He can reposition into this, and he's got everything. Shrouded Step, Paranoia, and there's smoke. Gen.G realizes, wants to actually double up. They want to use the numbers in their favor. Monyet, did he hit all of them? He did! He repositions! My God, Monyet!
He's
down
out
to
of
one
ammo,
bullet. He has to change, either reload or change, which he does.
Aduh!
Almost gets it, but Munchkin perseveres and wins. Oh boy, that was close for both.
I mean, just a bit of nerves on stage. Unfortunate that he ran out of ammo in his magazine right after it, but still, it comes down to it. Munchkin actually lands the flick above Monyet. So it's all of these like really thin margins, and it comes out on top. Sometimes numbers advantage will still prevail, and that's why, you know, it gets so dicey when you're going for these shorty kills. The Reckoning, the Hunter's Fury was awesome, but not the cleanest, you know, fight back against it.
Ultinya PRX tuh nggak on point, guys. Mereka pakai dua ulti tapi kalah orangnya loh.
9-9, Alex calls timeout.
Yang
And
mengerikan ya.
that's something that we often forget. It's like, it's not just a battle of the teams and the players, it's also a battle of the coaches. And, you know, Alex was talking about it. Solo back in the days, you know, he looks up to him, and he's communicating with his team as well.
It feels like the plan for Paperrex for the past couple of rounds right now has just been to disrupt the entry into the site of Gen.G.
Bisa lah bang, bisa lah bang.
Again,
Bisa lah bang, bisa yo.
Riskier plays that might not pan out as much for Paperrex. Something like, again, something that plays with an operator, just gets close in, can't really threaten, can't really reposition anymore, gets traded out. You were talking about this. And then that leaves them into these kind of clutch situations with Paperrex, from the looks of things, don't really want to always put themselves on.
Bisa guys. Let's go.
So you always got to be careful. But what is this? Outlaw Marshall buy.
Scamnya nggak pakai banner bang, nggak pakai guys. Aku lagi pakai laptop kan aku lagi di lombok.
Half shield right now, so
I don't hate it.
Yeah, and plus, you know, FYI for people, if you only shoot one bullet at the outlaw and reload it, it's faster than, you know, the full reload. So
I don't hate it, but I'm nervous, Astray. Oh boy.
Okay, that's gonna be Forsaken's back. Oh, that's not even back in the
kenapa
way.
ya?
That's a
Begitu ya bro.
by Meteor, punished by Meteor, straight into the neural theft, and Peekaboo, I see you, whole map exposed.
Just trying to get out of, get as much out of Gen.G as possible in this round, right? If any round is the round that we want to bait out those ultimates, bait out those pieces of utility, that's gonna be this one.
Woo! Monyet got the Marshall in hand, shooting through the smoke blindly.
Wow.
Meteor comes in for the pinch, and he will
Tuh,
get diced.
ngapain Manfred dah?
Mindfreak looking a little bit too far away. That's gonna leave Ilya by himself. I was about to say Divide, and then he's just by himself right now. Oh, he does not get the shot onto Meteor as well, and his position exposed. Gets the heal. This might actually have to be a save from him. As he just backs away. Wait. He has a gate crash all the way at the end of Halls. Is he willing? No, probably not.
I think it ran out. He's probably opting for the save instead at this point, but still, I mean.
Kalau grafik Majapahit, maaf guys, ini internetnya tuh nggak stabil di sini bro, itu doang sih.
So scouting out, you know.
Gue 3000 Mbps doang uploadnya guys, susah, gue juga pusing.
Sometimes, you know, they're up around elbow, up around mid. And this time you can definitely feel that A presence, and just not too sure how Paperrex can really disrupt that. You know, we were talking about it before. That's why you have to ignore it, right? You always want to push up front.
Gue sih kurang efektif guys ya kalau gue personally ya.
But it's
gak bisa jaga flank satu.
Sometimes just a little bit risky.
I guess the problem for that is because you only have technically the one duelist that can reposition. I mean, you can maybe argue that Monyet can also do it as the Omen here. There's not really a lot of options for Paperrex to really get out of harm's way without getting punished.
Jersey kok masih jersey lama soalnya.
Right? So we're kind of seeing the other way of that, which is getting punished by Gen.G and ultimately giving rounds to Gen.G. Okay.
Whoa.
Seeker's been activated. Forsaken's just charging right in. Divide? Does he even get spotted? No, he doesn't even have to look at his opponents. Cool guys, don't look at snake bite kills. It's not even an explosion, guys. It's a slow burn, a slow, painful poison burn. Cosmic Divide used on this A side itself. Cove making Gen.G just a tad bit afraid. As it drops, now they know. And they even have the Viper's Pit to make things a little bit easier as they transition, into this post plant.
And that's it, an uphill battle for Paperrex, right? They might be able to surround this Viper's Pit. There is a trip on the other side. Meteor can make use of it. And then you still got to watch out for those players up inside A main. How do you break this?
Monyet, though, he's vertical, dude. He's got the high ground advantage, and he is using that to actually get the one-up. Viper's Pit, use the snake bite to get a little bit of damage. No one's defusing the spike! And Munchkin through the smoke. Oh, this is going horribly wrong for Paperrex. Someone's going to have to start defusing it. Someone's going to have to hold him. Munchkin, what can you do? Absolutely everything, as he actually has bought enough time. They die to the event horizon, and that's going to be Gen.G with 2 rounds advantage, closing up to maybe the map point already in this game.
Just incredible. I mean, the combination of, first of all, the Cosmic Divide to give them that much more space, that much more security, and then the Viper's Pit, and how Munchkin is playing off of it. This is what Gen.G can do off of a post plant, and it's just that much more difficult. Paperrex, although we had Monyet, kind of like you mentioned, Asarai, with the vertical play, trying to break through that Viper's Pit, trying to break through Meteor, it worked out for just a second, and that's why it's just so much that Paperrex has to work off, and now it's a 2-round differential. How do you climb up against that? And they have to make it happen if they are to start out strong in VCT Pacific kickoffs this year.
Well, thankfully enough, they do have money, creds, to have the weaponry to make something happen. I will honestly try to find a different word other than something. If you guys could just like DM me a different word I can use so that you guys will not be confused. Anyways, the man himself, Ilya, is there on elbow. Nursing himself, the operator, once again. He is just holding that angle for the absolute longest time. He is hoping that someone is just gonna go into his spider's web, but unfortunately for the moment, Gen.G, they have their eyes set up here on that A site, and it could actually be good. Monyet's cold in for that one-way smoke that actually drops in and turns into a regular smoke that has a very big partial outside of A main that could actually be bad for Divide. We'll have to see how that works out, and he is trying to clear that with all intentions by himself.
He's got a bit of time.
Oh, he's so alone. Oh, he is so dead. Oh, this is not looking too good for Paperrex. Forsaken doing the same thing. No flashes, and he absorbs his opponent right in front. Gets full flash, but the Paperrex are actually working. Shot through mid. Oh, something gets it. He even finds the lurking meteor. And all of this because of the shock darts coming in from Mindfreak. Lakia will plant the spike. Monyet does not chase for him or tries to punish him. So it's the double up from the both of them. Something coming in from the white swing, and he's had enough.
Something getting the final kill. Mindfreak, you know, there's something getting kills. We've seen that before. Mindfreak with 2 shock dart kills. Not something you see every day, but a welcome sight nonetheless. I mean, just getting the information off of Divide, trying to play around Monyet's dark cover. That one felt really iffy. But look at how Forsaken really comes back in, and after they get that information, just being able to, you know, put out the tire traps. You got those caltrops, the shock darts. Gen.G can't really walk onto side that freely, so Paperrex trying to play a little bit more patient.
Ini mainnya sih terseok-seok guys ya, jujur ya, Paperrex terseok-seok guys. Agak terseok-seok ya guys ya dengan 3 kontrol gini guys. Kayak nggak disiplin mainnya bro, ini bahaya banget guys kalau diteruskan begini guys ya. Agak ngeri gue bro, agak ngeri gue bro.
But they feel like they have the first bloods, you know, very much locked and loaded in this first map. Something at least pads the stats a little bit more in the favor of Paperrex with that peak. And that slows down Gen.G by a big margin. Not having the flashes anymore from Lakia really hurts the chances here for Texture to get more of these quick contacts into the site.
Ya nggak sih? What do you think guys? Menurut kalian gimana?
Slows down Gen.G. They're always going to be thinking about what's next. But now, Dimensional Drift, just to gain further information. 1 minute left on the clock, and Gen.G actually going back off of a bit of a default. They want to spread themselves across the entire map. Ooh. Just saw the spike.
All right. Mr. Risky here. You know, not even...
Dude, they are living dangerously.
Yeah.
Mati sih, samping
blade
sih.
storm at a time.
But it works for them, and right now he's got information. If they were to cross in the risky way, most of them have already bypassed it, so something going to reposition. But what I'm curious about is Keren actually lurking up around mid.
That also, and well, there you go. He finds the one pick onto something here. There's the quick charge out. Tailwind was actually saved up by Texture, so he has capabilities to enter the site. Forsaken's not going to know about Keren here. Or does he? The Reckoning actually spots him out 14 seconds. Let's see what the battle comes in through the mid. It's going to be Forsaken. Spike, though, should get planted. It's all down to Forsaken for now as he waits for Divide to back the site. Back what? But Texture! What a reposition! What a challenge! And what aim has this top fragging Korean brought to the Gen.G roster?
Aduh, miskin lagi,
Texture, what a monster. Dude, yesterday, 2 days ago, he already had such an incredible stat line up against his opponent's RRQ. Having those first kills that you mentioned before him, he has 16 throughout the entire series. I feel like this one, he got even more. But not just that, the blade storm, the aim off of it, the way that he cut down Divide at his knees really blocks out PaperX, and now they've earned that match point. And remember, they are still sitting on one timeout.
Bro can see like 2 seconds into the future, man. And in a very quick and fast game like Valorant, that's all you really need. That Cascade was supposed to give some sort of safety, an access point for PaperX to get the one holes, but it turns into a Signer for Lakia to, it's kind of obvious. I'm just going to pop shots. What am I going to lose? Absolutely nothing. And he gains the 1 kill for almost everything here. There is no money for PaperX right now. Forsaken. Okay, that's one.
Nice.
Wifi's gonna have to go big, which he does. Oh, this drone. This drone!
Duh, si something ngabang-ngabang.
Blows up right in his face, dude.
Dua orang lo, Cok, maju, Cok.
He's got a Vandal, but he's so far from the situation on A.
Ente, anjir.
I'm running out of words. I would have thought that maybe at least something would have been able to get a trade at least, but wow. Decision making just a little bit off, but then at the same time for Gen.G to pick up these frags that quickly. They are looking in new form today. William is definitely chuckling at the desk. And now they are just 1 kill away from pushing us into the next map.
Definitely patting himself on the back with his Gen.G inspired outfit. 3 versus 1. Oh my god, Divide doesn't even have any smokes to supplement himself. He just has the weapon in the corners, and that Spike is just dwindling down ever so closely to exploding. He does find Texture, but I mean, Kaos is going to activate Gravity Well. Whoops, whoop. That's about it.
They know they got it.
He's got no time, man. That's gonna be it. And Gen.G got themselves at 1 in this series up against PaperX.
I mean, what an unbelievable performance. Texture on a new form. Carrying through that momentum from just a couple of days ago. Keren, the rookie, still showing up huge. And Meteor, of course, not much left to be said. They're anchoring, they're doing everything possible. They know how to play off of PaperX.
Ente guys.
And just really fighting these fights against them. Right? PaperX had a tough time in the first half. They managed to tie things up. But even towards the end, just not quite able to defend against this.
And again, it's because of the fact that they can't really slow down what was available to them because of the composition.
Oh yeah, but you know what? Our analysts are going to break all of this down because we got a very interesting composition to talk about.
Aduh.
Fine.
Are you guys okay? That was just map 1.
Ya, gini nggak normal, Cok. Kalau 3 smoker tuh gue bingung, guys. Nggak bisa ngontrol apa-apa gitu loh, guys, 3 smoker, guys. Susah sih kalau kata gue, guys. Breeze-nya sih pick-nya si Gen.G ya. deg-degan coy. Kalian menurut kalian gimana nih guys?
This team that can contend for the top spots. Not since the beginning of Pacific have I felt this way. But it just feels like they are in fact the real deal. Texture. Continuing to play up these numbers, it shows that the match versus RRQ.
Bahkan mereka nggak nyoba meta sih guys, mereka udah belajar. Tapi gue nggak tahu guys. Bukan nyoba-nyoba, tapi mereka udah tahu, mereka udah coba mungkin metanya di scrim, di apapun. Tapi mungkin mereka berhasil pas coba itu di meta. Tapi kenapa pas di match ini dia nggak ada yang berhasil gitu loh guys.
Way better than what we saw from him versus RQ.
Not to mention, he's having fun. Every time the camera cuts to him, he's just laughing. He's grooving. This is him in his element right now. He's so confident, and at the same time, again, his ACS has not dropped anywhere below 315 this entire kickoff. So I guess Gen.G, it is insane.
It's across 4 maps.
Kenapa dia kenapa dia cuy?
I mean, Achilles and I were talking about it as well, especially for Texture. We've been following him for his entire career in Korea, and while he's always looked like one of the best duelists, these are actually the best games we've seen from him at this level. The competition has upgraded, and he's saying, "I'm still."
PRX kalah nih malah jempol RRQ sih, tapi ngomongnya sih jangan kalah ya.
New squad.
The fact that he's doing this in just current era, because when he started off the game, even just a couple years ago, it's already so different, and the fact that he's still having these kinds of performances, putting up these kinds of numbers, is just so damn impressive, and it just tells you what kind of player Texture really is.
And the other thing is for me personally, I thought Munchkin was having a lot of trouble in that first half. I mean, he honestly.
Dia banyak kayak Napski, maksudnya kenapa tuh? Apa di mute guys? Tuh 20 ini kah? Apa 3 match kah? 3 map kah guys? Kenceng banget cuy anjir headshotnya guys. Headshot persentasenya tinggi banget bro.
Is this new optic? Is Texture gay?
Oh my.
Is Lakia FNS?
Sebenarnya berhasil aja bang. Menurut gue sih nggak berhasil guys ya. Menurut gue nggak berhasil. Karena sistem kontrol 3 mereka tuh sering overpicknya tuh sendiri-sendiri guys. Terus trade kill-nya nggak kurang jalan gitu loh, gue ngeliatnya guys ya. Trade kill-nya kurang jalan aja sih guys menurut gue. Satu trade kill-nya kadang suka overpick-nya sendiri, dia nggak ada teman, jadi mau nggak mau hati lah gitu guys. Terus apa lagi guys? Selain itu overpick sih guys. Mereka nggak punya ability untuk kabur, tapi mereka masih nge-pick sendiri ya.
But they had the same shots, they had some good trades. It seemed like the movement around the map, the speed was all there, but Gen.G was staying just one step ahead in most of these rounds.
Yeah, I thought maybe we would see a bit more of what we had from them on that breeze. I thought maybe they were gonna.
Banyak banget tadi momen mereka mati ya udah mati ya itu ngepick yang aneh gitu loh guys. Ngepick yang overpick 1 lawan 5 gitu kan udah pasti nggak mungkin bisa nge-kill, kayak nggak mungkin bisa nge-kill banyak deh. Ini agak permainannya di map ini menurut gua PRX agak berantakan banget ya, nggak sesuai ritme dia. Harusnya sih emang menurut gue sih pakai meta sendiri aja sih. Gue nggak tahu kenapa pakai meta 3 control ya. Harusnya tetap 1 sentinel. Kalau mau 2 control oke gitu guys ya. Si Harbor sama si Viper gitu masih oke lah. Masih belum nyatu nggak sih bang sama monyet gameplaynya bang? Atau udah? Menurut gua belum terlalu kelihatan guys. Memang ini jujur dari observasi gue pribadi, belum kelihatan permainannya PRX sama monyet itu menyatu banget ya. Tapi udah menyatu tapi belum banget gitu. Tekstur segila itu bang. Iya tapi nggak ada yang tahu guys tekstur di global esport tekstur biasa aja nggak sih? Makanya dijual. Pindah ke GEN.G gila begini guys.
Right? I think this is where we say credit to Gen.G because again, Paperrex, their comp didn't look to its maximum potential, but they were still fragging out. I mean, they were still clutching up. They had some great rounds. They had some good executes chaining with you.
Menurut gue soalnya monyet itu dibeli itu sebagai smoker ya, sebagai smoker. Jadi mungkin rasa duelis dia tuh udah kurang menurut gue guys, ya nggak sih? Ya nggak sih? Itu salah satu faktor juga sih guys. Dia main di GE itu full smoker, jarang banget dia main duel. Dia kayaknya nggak ada sama sekali main duelis ya di GE. Atau ada 1 match gitu, gue nggak tahu ya. Tapi dia tuh udah terlalu nyaman pakai smoker, lalu pindah ke PRX tuh diharapkan bisa jadi penggantinya Jing, yaitu adalah duelis. Dan dia mungkin bisa main duelis dulu, tapi rasanya udah hilang, ngerti nggak sih?
Towards PaperX's way, just given their proficiency for that map in the past, but we you also have to remember, we don't have Jing, who's going to be going for those crazy blast pack setups. How much did he teach to whoever the hell is going to be playing Raze on this squad before his departure? We'll have to wait and see.
And
Halo wani piro.
as well, of course, comparing something in texture. The other funny thing is, a lot of the Korean fans are always very upset about something.
M-nya rapi banget guys, anjir sumpah.
Even better last year when he was facing against Korean teams, right? He's just top ranking, creating highlight reel after highlight reel, and Texture is here to say, no, the buck stops here. We're back. The Korean duelists are here to stay, and right now he is absolutely performing above everybody else.
Very true. I mean, on the topic of Korean duelist, you know, Governor, we claim him. He's he's fully assimilated.
Yeah, he can't fake us out that he's from North America.
You can't deny what's in your blood.
Yeah, you know, that movement, you know, those headshots, that's basically like, you know, that comes from right here, right? But
dia dapat 2 itu sih gila sih guys. Terus Texture dapat 2 tuh gila. Ini juga dapat 3, oke banget nih Moonskin sih anjir. Daripada low soalnya itu guys, kalau nggak low tuh dapat tuh minimal otomatis tuh.
Just like that clip we just saw, right? When they're pushing out of that pit, it's things that they used to get away with.
Gua nggak tahu kenapa something nggak nembak itu guys. Miss kah dia? Rip M kah?
That's pretty haphazard. You're just hoping that you're going to get the first kill.
Yeah, and it just continued to happen. There were so many of those pushes that were coming through.
Apalagi taruh eksperimental, bukan terlalu eksperimental menurut gue guys. PRX ini masih mencoba bikin timnya kuat lagi guys, karena kan pergantian tim itu, dimana timnya yang sebelumnya itu kuat banget, diganti dengan tim yang baru dengan salah satu komposisi yang berbeda, yang biasanya main smoker jadi main duelist sekarang. Nah ini baru guys, duelist nih, ini baru bro.
Breeze was their pick, so PaperX, what do they have planned here for
The
Gen.G?
composition
let's see guys ya.
right? It's Monyet just picking up the Raze, and we saw this during the off season. It wasn't the same pace.
Gua kemarin tuh pas
as Jing,
ngobrol
but
sama
the
si
comms were
something
there,
guys
the
di
kind of
Thailand
mini
tuh
set
kayaknya
plays
tuh dia tuh
alongside
lagi
the Sky
haus.
were there. So I have full faith that
Jujur sih
PaperX is
Ilya
gonna
itu
come
lagi
back.
haus guys,
My
dia lagi
big
pengen
question,
ngeri
though,
lagi,
for
ya of
Forsaken
course
is,
gue pengen
does he
main,
change
pengen
the
turunin
setups
lagi,
a
gue
lot
pengen
now with
menang,
some of
gue
those
pengen
minor
ngasih
map
lihat
changes
gitu
on some
loh.
of the sites like B
Masih
and
banyak
C,
banget yang
he
pengen
used to
dilakukan.
really lock down that part of the map.
Masih pakai Sky ya? Sky bukan jelek banget guys ya?
Gen.G can manage to do their homework exactly
Ulang
against
kapan bang?
PaperX,
Besok guys.
even on their map picks. So
Sky
let's
bukannya
toss
udah
it over
burik
to
banget guys Sky
Cancer's
guys.
Quack and SRI.
That's the sound of something being tossed and us catching it.
Okay, that's right. Well, it's your first thing on Caster's desk, and this is what you're saying? Come on. All right, let's bring things back to this because, you know, they were talking
Tapi
about
pas
it.
Papi Ben cabut
Definitely,
masih
we're
lebih
wondering about
smooth banget
Forsaken
adaptasinya.
and how, you know, effective he
Pas
can really
Papi
be.
Ben cabut
I
itu,
think he should
pas
have
Papi
studied
Ben
enough
cabut
because that is what he's known to
pengganti
do.
sama
He
Papi
can
Ben.
flex on so many agents, but apart from that,
Penggantinya Jing nggak
who
sih?
is going to be the one, you know,
Lupa
supplementing
deh,
Jing?
pas
Of course, it's
Ben
going to be
cabut
Monyet
itu
on that
Jason yang pindah role ya nggak sih?
True, and again, feels like something might be back in his element now that he has that jet back in his hands. It seems like when he was
PRX tuh suka banget guys, early round tuh suka banget nge-push guys.
he was just following
Flash
set
push.
guidelines. It wasn't the same.
Itu bagus kalau dapat satu, kalau nggak dapat itu yang bikin rugi cuy.
When he is on that more explosive duelist, and in case I thought Gen.G was going to commit on that C site, but no, just a bit of noise here and there. Maybe hoping to coax a bit of rotation from PaperRX, which has worked. But if obviously Gen.G doesn't know that,
Wah,
but they're still going to hit
kosong
the other side
bro.
on B.
I mean, that's the other thing. It's just that this is a map that, you know, PaperX can study game tape off of because Gen.G did play this, you know, against RRQ. So having an idea, you definitely have that something that is feeling a little bit more swift, a little bit more fluid.
Oh, I thought he got into the door. He opened it himself. There's the fight. They're going to try to go for the pitch very quickly.
Nice.
And PaperX,
Nice,
this
Monyet.
B side,
Udah mati sih.
there is no solid ground here. It is all quicksand. You got to move or else you're just going to fall into the depths of the bullets. Meteor's by himself, the spike already getting accused.
Ini baru, kan gameplaynya beda kan kalau pakai ini kan?
Sorry, excuse me. Actually, it wasn't Gen.G playing Lotus. I think it was T1. But the composition, the ideas are rather similar for a few agents.
Oh nggak 2K bang, gue lagi pakai laptop guys. Nggak bisa 2K, mohon maaf ya. Ntar ya pas di video ya.
It's a little bit tougher.
Ini Jason pakai outlaw guys ya, let's see ya Jason ya. Jason jangan overpick aja sih menurut gue.
There you go.
And I do like how... Sorry, I was just getting on my real quick. I do like how PaperRX realized well that if they're going to push on the B side as their points, Gen.G,
Suara bang, suara. Hah?
level control of C long because
Suaranya renyah. Ini nge-lag guys nih, OBS gue nge-lag liat tuh. OBS gue nge-lag banget cok. Cek. Oke, cek. Bentar.
Again, that's something that PaperX uses.
Udah belum guys, aman nggak?
On the defense, Mindfreak just making a bit of noise. But look at how Gen.G
Udah belum?
I mean, that's one thing that a lot of teams have adapted to against PaperX, expecting or anticipating that they would push out a lot on
Mohon
this.
maaf lah guys kalau nge-lag guys, soalnya sumpah ini gue di Lombok nih, internetnya jelek banget bro.
The first minute comes down, now they walk on up to B.
You're about to open that door. Yeah, there's the haunt activated already. Forsaken's ready and best, but
ini yang gue bilang, Cok. Overpicknya bikin kalah.
The fight, they've lost the weapons.
Lihat.
And they're losing numbers right now. Monyet's gonna have to hold this by himself. He is down to a very dangerous amount of HP.
Bingung gue guys, kenapa ya? Suka banget begitu loh, maju-maju nggak jelas gitu loh.
Thankfully enough, the rest of PaperX, they've done somewhat their jobs, as they have lowered the meters, the life of all the Gen.G players down to half.
Kasih senjata, Cok.
It's a lot more
Vandal.
digestible for something. Vandal indeed in his hands. He's already activated Tailwind, but Gen.G's not biting. They know they have the numbers advantage. They know the spike is planted already. So something's going to be put into such a decrepit state. And he might actually just be forced to save.
Yeah, if he got one kill, maybe he would have gone for even more, but without that kill, it's just way too risky. He never knows if someone is holding an off angle, a bit of a crossfire against him, so doesn't want to get swung upon contact either. And it's just unfortunate. I mean, well played by Gen.G because they played it safe. They had those haunts and bits of setups just to draw out some of these PaperX players, right? They heard the door. They kind of had an idea. Dude, this might be my freak. He might be around the corner. Let's check. And with so many players up around the corners, it's just PaperX kind of putting themselves in awkward positions. And,
ronde kedua kalah mulu tiap menang pistol guys. Dua kali guys.
It feels almost as if there's like a bit of that mood shift. Coming back on stage, Alex talking to them that way, and after having lost the first map, they can't be feeling too good right now.
I'm going on to a different point here. You know how PaperX on the attacking side here on Lotus, they love to break that mid link to go to A to B very quickly. Again, using those connectors from site to site to put a lot more motion in the ocean with how they rotate. Gen.G is doing the exact same thing, and it seems, at least for now, in these couple of rounds, it hasn't really paid dividends. One timing from something there. He's actually going to chase for the kill here. Thankfully enough, there's a lot of utility for Meteor to give himself that space, and yeah, 140 damage to the body. Outlaw's just insane, man.
Peter's not even going for the headshot there, and that's just unfortunate. Again, I mean, half armor, you want to get a kill, at least something, create a bit more space for the team, but can't find all too much, and something going chasing that way, it's, dude. Again, not a feels-good moment, but for Gen.G, I mean, right now, we were talking about it from the previous round. You're talking about how they love to, find that motion in the ocean across the map, find that space and push into the A site. They always have players watching their backs. They always have players watching out for those pushes from PaperX.
And having Meteor playing as that Killjoy makes it so easy on Lotus. All you have to really do, I wasn't really expecting Monyet to survive that. All you really have to do is place your alarm bot on C-Long or A main, depending on which site you're actually committing to. You put it on the elsewhere, and then that one turret on B, or
bisa.
check out all the flags. Also,
precisely.
Yes to your hub.
Also just Meteor being Meteor. I mean, he was that guy who always bought Marshals in round 2 last year when he was the primary duelist for Gen.G. Now onto the Sentinel. I was saying because I saw a double Odin.
I thought you were going to point out the double Showstopper available for both the duelists very quickly here.
That too.
I love having ultimates very early into the game. It makes you very aggressive. And it looks like okay, let's see. All right, that's going to be a trade for trade. Texture does get Monyet first. Dust settles 3 versus 3. I mean, what was I supposed to do? What was I supposed to say? When you see 2 raises just coming out into the open with Showstoppers, you really just have to have your hands up in the air and wave like you just don't care. Anyways, again, Gen.G able to go into the C site, gonna be able to plant that spike in, and the quick rotation, the quick huddle around Rubble works in their favor because now all of the utilities that PaperX has kind of sprinkled around the map has been subverted for the most part, except for this one really weird off-cam from Forsaken that's been spotted.
Surprised that he caught it. Although it was a bit of information for Forsaken nonetheless. We've got some smokes up. We've got Mindfreak available, and they're trying to work their way in. Getting those heads-up duels will be advantages.
There's the NT, not nice try, but the neural theft activated. Meteor still holding on, man. He is a force to be reckoned with.
Nice.
But Mindfreak comes up to win. Time is going to be enough to defuse that spike. But man, oh man, if Forsaken didn't pop up there, shuttle to think what would happen for PaperX.
Berdarah tapi ya, berdarah sekali ya roundnya ya.
Can you do that again for me, Asrai?
No.
Really?
No. We will do it again when we have the same exact situation happen.
Okay, I'm gonna hold you to that.
We don't want to overdo it. We don't want to overstimulate our audiences.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, sick.
Asrai's voice stimulating and titillating. It was really fun. It was really fun. But I mean, again, the main thing is.
Thank you, Andra. Makasih, Andra.
The both showstoppers. The rotations came through.
Semangat gimana?
Guys lagi
stres.
You've got this.
Kalah satu map, guys.
And just Meteor holding the angle off. It's beautiful Valorant on both sides, but Mindfreak clutching
Sekarang
out
tuh
on top
Sky
of it
kurang enak
was the
guys.
main
Kenapa?
factor.
Karena flashnya cuma 2, bro.
Now, seems like we're back, down to even. Door's been opened up, but no one wants to charge in on tree. I guess it makes a lot of sense. They know that Odin is available already for device, so they don't want to get, peppered, wallbanged to oblivion on tree there. They just want to make them think. Device already pushed up here, so now he knows no one's actually inside this position. So there is a lot of merit that they might actually break through that lane, go to B, or rotate around. Meteor, his timing is going to be very crucial. Forsaken chase a little bit too hard, and he has the lockdown. He can activate it right now, let the rest of his team come in, or use it as bait, force the rotation away from PaperX, and go elsewhere.
And that's the best thing that Gen.G has going for them right now. The number of options that they have thanks to Meteor getting that first kill. But now, committing over to the B side, paint shells in, it buys PaperX a little bit of time for something to come up with the judge.
He knows someone's right behind him. But since they haven't picked up that spike, he can just be as patient as possible, hold for the rest of his team. That's all he really needs to do. Texture stayed, not going to do much damage, but he does pick it up. Something's got a cloud burst. He can get closer and closer here, create that tempo if need be. But the one that's going to have to hold the most is Meteor right on top of that B site, which he does, leaving Mindfreak in a 2 versus 1. They've doubled up onto the corner here. They got a shot step. He's got a shot step. But he's waiting patiently, but you mentioned it already, man. They're stacking up, and he can't do the high-low. Too slow, and that's going to be Gen.G with a round advantage.
That is such a difficult shot to land. I mean, the only time I've ever seen anyone pull off something like that was like maybe Sentinels a few years ago, but still.
Wow, what memory you have, sir?
I don't know, I'm thinking of like Dapper or something. But still, I mean, back into this one, it's just so darn good from Gen.G, the way they've been playing this. I think something kind of jumped around and fired off his judge, thinking that maybe he would be able to buy the attention away. But Gen.G doesn't bite that bait. They stayed hard up on stairs, B stairs, up against some of these players from PaperX like Mindfreak, and making sure that they wouldn't be able to push out.
Yeah, and again, it's because they don't really have to chase him. Again, they can rotate elsewhere on the map. They still had Meteor coming through C that got the kill on Forsaken here. That's a trade for trade. Something's got the Blaze. They're pushing out very aggressively here. Forsaken wants to create more tempo as the rest of PaperX come into Waterfall on that flank. 3-3. Gen.G's trapped onto the site. Smokes from from Mindfreak to provide some coverage here. Paranoia to delay them just a tad bit further. One satchel. Pushes right in. Karen holding. Thinking he could be top of the spike. Numbers of PaperX dwindling down. Something's going to have to make something happen here. That right click, very shallow, and that's just going to be a clean pickup. Clean.
Lu nggak berapa mimpin PaperX lo. Mimpinnya dikit banget dari tadi, bro.
Because Gen.G's too fast, dude. I can't react in time.
We can't even say too much about like economical damage either. In that round, PaperX was just really trying to find as much as they could, get some kills in. Something getting the Blade Storm going was, a glimmer of hope, but just a bit of hope at best, because it was just way too difficult. Gen.G saw the flank coming out. They knew, all right, let's just go into C instead. So something's not going right for PaperX right now. Alex calls in the timeout.
Just a bit of a breather again
Berantakan
here.
banget cuy, mainnya,
Usually when
cuy.
that happens, PaperX do get their second wind. And they definitely need that. Especially for all of us that have predicted that PaperX should win the series. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, I'm really curious about the interview. If we do get to talk to PaperX later, like something's definitely off about the form or the mood in the team right now. It's not always so often that you always when they don't perform well. It's usually when you start to see these patterns like Forsaken or something.
Kurang ini apa kurang nggak tahu kenapa ya strategi kalah terus loh.
And they want to shoot themselves back in the game, and that's something that just doesn't work out so well, especially against a Gen.G that's feeling this confident. They're like, all right, you want to chase us? Come at us.
I can only assume it's them trying to hold their performance from last year. Chasing that high that they got, and it might be getting into their heads. I can only assume. I don't know if it's the real cause, but there definitely is some. There definitely is a change up here from something. There you go. I changed my words already. Anyways, Monyet still hasn't really shown what he's got on this raise. I don't think he's gotten too many big of a highlights. It's just the crossing of the streams of those showstoppers that we saw, but that's about it. Still pretty early into this game, though.
Not really feeling all that much yet, but at the very least, trying to get a read for Gen.G's game plan right now. We've seen a lot of that A to mid link play, like you mentioned before, Asarai, and PaperX are trying to adapt around it. They know that Nightfall is available as well, so just trying to play away from it. Now they're set up for something, maybe to at least toss paint shells to deny Spike Plant, but look at how Texture is hunting.
Oh my god.
Out of charges.
He barely dodges that, gets out of harm's way. But that's the power that they've got. Big kill onto Munchkin there, though, but Meteor's still holding on Rubble. If he can hold on his position, his teammates can rely on him to hold that long angle right now, but not available anymore. Texture throws the nade from up above on Heaven, so they know that somebody's at least up there as he tries to reposition. The rest of PaperX coming in closer. Something floating, stinging like a bee. That nade is going to be so strong. Lakia, wow, over-analyzes the situation and gets punished for it. But Texture, it's all in his wheelhouse, baby. Smoke does dissipate, so the Vi
Nice wall, let's go.
Able to get that refrag as well as the complete
di mana yuk? Lagi di Lombok, guys.
PaperX strikes back.
Berdarah mulu tapi menangnya satu orang doang loh, guys.
Something with the shorty floating into the dark cover.
Tekstur gila tekstur, cok.
Always fun to watch.
Ngefrag
But
mulu
it all
dia.
starts with Monyet. I think he was trying to create a little bit more space, but the paint shells kind of threw off, and he died really early on because of these shots coming in from Gen.G. However, once something comes in, once Forsaken starts to get going, they can go in for those trades. Then we see the PaperX fold, the PaperX that we're all familiar with. We need more of that, though. I mean, you can't just always rely on these retakes. These round was won thanks to Alexa's timeout. That was thanks to, the read that they had, knowing that Lakia would go in for that Nightfall.
Yeah, and again, as I mentioned already, losing both the players holding Rubble, the long angle, was such a huge discrepancy for Gen.G because they can always have someone hit the reeler outside of A main. Anyways, moving into this round, there's only one player holding that A side, and it's Mindfreak. He's put himself the one-way smoke on Tree here to give him some form of anchoring spot. But thankfully enough, no one's gotten very close into challenging him just yet, but now they do. Prowler's been used.
Nice one.
He's just going to get pushed back, and Monyet just making sure that Link is unoccupied by the rest of Gen.G.
Yeah, Forsaken too. At least getting the frag onto Meteor, but now the hit comes through.
Devi holding the backside, anchoring it for the moment. Waiting again for Monyet to double up with him and try to do something as of now.
Nice.
Dog is available. Monyet, let that reposition. Wait, what is happening here? Locky is trying to run away. He opens the door quickly, backs up, but something doesn't have to challenge him just yet. Munchkin has the wall, drops right down, and he has so many angles to deal with.
Ini dong, menang bertiga gitu loh.
And we equalize once again.
Yeah, this is what we want to see from PaperX. This is the PaperX we need. The tempo at which they're going, not just going for those early aggressive kills, trying to find frags, or chasing down Meteor. In fact, what they do is to kind of hold back. You've got Mindfreak. Set up that one way. You've got hold your space, make sure you gain map control. And they got Divide just kind of getting information off of stairs, jump peeking a little bit. Once they confirmed that the hit's coming through, they have an idea of where Meteor could lurk in from, and that's what they want. That's how That's how, you know, Mindfreak does a little bit more.
Speaking of Mindfreak here, he held for a very long time that tree position.
Yeah.
Loving how he does it. I mean, yeah, sure, he doesn't get any kills, but the threat of him of getting
ini dong mainnya trade kill dong sama Davai kan, mainnya kan combo Davai kan.
Put that into the factors of how they push up into a site is pretty huge. I will say though, I don't think I've seen Forsaken be successful in holding a site. He's been good at getting the lurks because he's Forsaken, but the setups that he's done on C really hasn't resulted in Gen.G being thwarted. Meteor has gone there and gotten those
Munchkin masuk dalam banget, cok. A-nya kosong.
Pop Shots does put Munchkin down to 56.
It always makes you think twice about wanting to lurk or at least call some rotations over. They know that there is a bit of PaperX presence all across the map, and PaperX is no longer, you know, really pushing out all that much anymore. So Gen.G now trying to play along with this tempo, trying to adapt to it, but it burns down the timer. Look at the clock, Asarai.
Look at this though. Gen.G can actually go for that link.
Thank you, bro!
Something is too slow into this one.
Apa sih?
He's gonna get pinched in. Unfortunately for Paperrex, Meteor gets it once and for all. Monyet comes in here with a showstopper, and the rocket goes boom boom.
Ah, gini dong baru Monyet. Arigato gozaimasu 100.000-nya bang. Arigato.
We're very quick to adapt and to respond to the offense of Gen.G.
Iki lagi ngelamun jorok anjing si Ilya. Something ngelamun jorok, guys.
Not quite the one that we got from before, but you know, still good.
All right, stop chasing it, stop hunting it. You'll get it when there is a well-deserving
You were absolutely right with the setup that Something had. I mean, I would have thought at least he would be able to secure at least one op kill, right? But the rest of the team reacting that quickly.
Dua itu gimana caranya? Jason dah.
That was what PaperX needed, and that's why you got to have this setup from PaperX. That's why they're not pushing out all that much. It might not be, you know, full-blown W gaming, but this is also what Victoria was talking about before, that lateral shift. You're not always that same PaperX. You've got Monyet now, and it's just that much more control. Of course, though, Gen.G now starting to feel the pressure. They call themselves a timeout.
Yeah, and if I could just add, I've had the pleasure of also being able to cover the Indonesian scene because, you know, Southeast Asia and everything. Monyet's been there for a good chunk of time before he joined Global, right? And a lot of the characteristics, I think, of the Indonesian scene is how
ya ampun, ada Paradoxter. Thank you, Om Rudy. Makasih, Om Rudy. Arigato gozaimasu.
Situations. And you see that be translated into his play with PaperX very quickly. I think there was an interview
bilang Monyet terus, Bang. Itu nama playernya, anjing. Bukan gue bilang Monyet, guys, sama nama playernya Monyet, bro.
In his local scene, you see that translate into Pacific League 2024 with PaperX much quicker. And,
that's right.
I mean, look at this, 9 kills for the man.
Back when he was an Onyx, you know, APAC, LCQ, he was doing things such as neon plays.
Nggak bisa kan? Omen nggak bisa, bro, kalau pakai orang itu ada Viper, ada Omen, susah banget kayaknya hidupnya.
Okay. I don't know how old you are, Asra,
masih di peak,
anyway,
anjing.
I mean, this is a round where PaperX has some guns.
Kalau kata gue sih mati sih Something ya, kalau
it's
lagi
more
sih,
of
bro.
a half-ish, fourth-ish, not half by.
Yeah.
And you're always thinking about, like, you know, they called in that timeout. They want to suss out information and get a feel for how PaperX is defending this time. But Something's not going to make it that easy.
Oh, that's way too many people close up in the face of Monyet there. Something's going to back away, retreat. Danger, alert. That nade clearing him up once again. Not big damage. But as that door keeps closing and opening, they don't know how many players have already exited, how many players are still holding.
Nice.
It's Texture, 1 down. Something.
Ya, banyak rip damage, cok.
And that's Meteor. He can call back his teammates if he wants to. There it is. Lockdown available. And Meteor opens up the side.
Rip M loh, guys. Kenapa dia, guys, ya?
I got to see the replay on that. I mean, it's so interesting and off-putting how Gen.G is approaching the map. It was a half-buy. You just had this squad of stingers. But guess what? Here comes Forsaken.
Buset, Meteor serem banget.
This man might not be the Guardians of the Galaxy, but he is the Guardian of Lotus. 4 kills for Meteor on our Guardian, man. That's pretty insane. Dude is tapping heads left and right.
Yeah, first of all, we had the space from Gen.G, like I was mentioning before. I mean, it's a little bit weird to open the door and then just hide inside a tree. But then Paperrex coming in to investigate. And then off of that space, Meteor is the one that, you know, they weren't really expecting to be there. And because of his sharpshooting, he's able to pick off their heads just like that. Something wasn't quite able to deal with him. And that's something that I definitely did not expect. I want to see something with his op, really, you know, really pop it off. But he's not doing it so far.
And with all of the abilities that can really flush you out as, you know, a jet with an operator, it's very hard for him to do that. Yes, there's no big flashes from Gen.G here, but Prowler, Boombot, Smokes, Paranoia, there's a whole slurry of non-flash abilities that can really irk you if you're something. So Gen.G's been using that to a very good extent.
Now going up against him as well. However, he holds his ground, picks up the first one, and backs away. So this gives Paperrex a little bit more information and inkling as to where Gen.G wants to approach from. Something re-peeks and holds the angle. Defy comes in for an information play, but doesn't find all too much.
Ready for that.
But here comes something.
He's got a tailwind again, so he can get out of harm's way if need be, but
masih overpick dia, kenapa ya?
That's going to be the death of him. Monyet's now trapped here on drop. That Han supposedly giving away position, but somehow Forsaken manages to squeeze his way through the back of the side, leaving Charon by himself and Mindfreak for the pinch. That is going to be Paperrex holding off round, and as
lagi pada tidur, guys.
For the last round of the first half.
Sama kamu toxic banget, Aihan ya.
I mean, still a really close score, and it doesn't put Paperrex out of harm's way. And if you're thinking about it, I mean, something maybe didn't quite get the kills, but at least bought enough time, did enough damage for his team to arrive on scene. And that's another thing. It's just Forsaken playing this role. You know, unless they're walking into his traps, unless they're going into him, we won't often see.
Like bang, patah-patah bang. Maaf guys, patah-patah internetnya lemot guys.
And I love this from Forsaken. Again, it's old news, but I love how he's transitioned into this type of guy that can use these Sentinels. And look at the man, he's still getting kills left and right. Munchkin, he's got himself a judge. I mean, long range, he got the Sheriff. If he can close the distance somewhat, maybe there's a world where he can use that Viper Pit. But look at how many players of Paperrex are just holding that angle right up in his face.
Yeah, look at the cones of vision on the minimap too.
Yeah. But they're getting closer. Hold on. Wait. Oh my god. Oh, the heart attack, man. Just think about it.
But 3 players.
Apa nggak di YouTube bang? Watch party kan di YouTube guys.
Okay, we got this. 7-5 is not too bad.
Kalau nge-lag maaf guys, sinyalnya di Lombok kurang bagus, adik-adik, you know, understand. Ini kalau dua duelis attacker mestinya sih lebih bagus guys ya.
Nonetheless, 2 rounds ahead. If they can pick up the pistol, that would be even better. But of course, Gen.G has been showing us such a dominant performance today.
Kembali kalian bilang nge-lag kan nonton Kak Miti juga guys, Kak Miti aja Kak Miti. Miti.
And again, you do see that. It feels like I can't really say any names right now of Gen.G players on.
Tapi Gen.G serem banget sih guys, jujur li ya guys ya. Di Gen.G ini kenapa guys ya?
How well they're able to play off of.
Keserupan coy Gen.G coy, ya nggak sih?
I agree. Right, so and then they just kind of feed off of that.
But I will say, I mean,
serem banget coy si Gen.G guys.
For that, you know,
keserupan dia cuy.
Previous map we might have seen texture popping off like crazy. This one, I will say, Meteor was someone who kept showing up. He was the one who won them that one round where they had nothing but a half buy, just using nothing but a Guardian. Meteor has been holding things down. Meteor has been dueling out against Forsaken.
That and the one, actually, thank you for saying that as well. There's that one point where he was lurking on C, gets Forsaken, single-handedly holds that site and allows Gen.G options.
Nick lagi live streaming guys.
That A site or rotate to C where Meteor was. So absolutely
Nick lagi live streaming. Kalau lagi live streaming pasang gua nge-lag sih kayaknya.
3 here coming into this second half.
Texture still has the kill leader too. So Paperrex kind of does have to watch out, but of course now that Forsaken, you know, gets to stretch his legs on this attacking side, hoping that we can see a little bit more from the team that, you know, won us VCT Pasific finals last year, and then of course going to champions as well. I don't need to introduce them; everyone knows.
Yeah, how much effort with both teams actually fight for Rubble here? Because the thing about Lotus, at least in the pro scene that we've seen for the most part, is people will just, do basically this. Commit the Rumble plays, and Gen.G, those nades are
Si Texture gila dari orang, Cok.
very deadly. My god, Texture, where'd that flick come from? Mind Freak, he's alone. He's got Dark Cover to work for days, but his opponent, they can last for months, so just see how more that is. 4 versus 1. He's repositioning around the corner here. Meteor hears him. I wonder if there's a world where Meteor tries to stab Mind Freak here if he over pushes or doesn't even check the corner. But
no.
Play it safe.
Current teams, no. No knife.
Wishful thinking, man. Wishful thinking.
But I mean, it's just how they play. Very controlled.
Keserupan
They
siapa sih
know the
guys, anjir?
setups. And
Udah
I
5 map loh, dia main
this is
killnya
something that
di atas
Gen.G
20
had
semua, cuy.
prepared. Studying game tape from Paperrex before, knowing that this is definitely something that we want to go for, right? This rubble control, it's so useful, gives you legs to have that
siapa guys yang
option
menurut
towards
kalian, guys?
A or mid link if you want to set up split pushes. They want to deny that, and that one nade from Texture, not to mention Lakia and Texture pushing in together, just throws Paperrex off so much.
Can I add as well? Munchkin's toxic screen was pretty huge for that, because usually you'd see that and say, it's the safety for the A side. No, it's the danger for Rumble for you if you're trying to push that. Speaking of pushing though, it's the C. Zoom in past Monyan. Whoa, I love this! The double jumping PRX!
Yo, but they still got the shot, man. Whew. So although Monyan makes it through, has a bulldog, can't go up against Munchkin now. What?
Last player standing.
Alright, down to something with a Marshall. 3 versus 1.
Party's over.
Makes it a quick 2v1. Okay. That Spike is very much out in the open for him. He's got a dash, he actually repositions. But wait, does that angle actually work for him? It's very risk, so he has to try to do something here. Oh my god. He even got the crosshair in the head near the body space of Lakia.
Nice
Something
bro.
overdoing it, going back into C-Long. I mean, it was for the information, but he kind of overheated in that situation too.
Really close. I mean, at least had the right idea to tailwind out of that hairy situation and to play for time a little bit, trying to distract Munchkin. But, I mean, Lakia. As soon as Lakia goes in, though, just knowing to crouch and to keep his head tucked under.
Yeah.
Lakia is not always like a standout fragger, but in some situations knows exactly what to do, has enough experience.
Yeah. He's got a good head on his shoulders for sure. Something challenging here. It's tagged up.
Something udah ini sih guys, udah apa ya?
Last year, right, on Essential
Sekarang
Pacific, where he was on
kalau M-wise ya guys ya, tekstur lagi di atas samping sih menurut gue guys.
To really showcase
karena stabil banget guys tembakannya si tekstur ini tuh jarang banget, apa sih kayak jarang banget geter gitu nembaknya. Kenapa ya cuy ini orangnya?
Of course, now with enough
Rupanya apa gue masih penasaran sih, Bo.
Gen.G not having the best guns, you got a Ghost on Texture, Karen on the, well, it's Karen still. Paperrex buying up, trying to do what they can. You've got something
PRX harusnya beli dia sih menurut gue.
Gen.G just respects all of this space and plays for numbers instead. They kind of relinquish A, which means it's going to be a tough retake for them.
Fair enough. Especially with the rest of Paperrex holding both stairs and A heaven. They've got everything locked and loaded. They don't really need to stay inside of the site. They can be proactive as much as they would want to.
Oh,
Karen does get that angle against something, but damage is already done here, Quack. Gen.G, I feel like it's only going to be exits and a bit of economic damage that they can really do in this round.
Makes me wonder if it was like the barrel peeking out. But
Probably
that,
is.
It's just Karen still.
Isi menang lagi guys, 97 guys.
Never talk about line of sight. You get closer into a corner. You can see your opponent faster than they do. We're not going to get deep into that.
34 degrees here in the corner of the wall.
TLDR, guys. The closer you are to a wall when you peek a corner, the worse it is for you. The farther you are from a wall when you peek a corner, the better it is for you.
Thank you, Asarai.
Yeah.
But yeah, still, a round picked up by Paperrex still.
Bisa guys. Something top frag yuk, mantap. For second juga top frag. Ini baru mantap guys.
Pistol in the subsequent round after that. So now buying back up, I mean, we saw how Gen.G, this round really just kind of playing it safe. Still a lot of damage, but apart from that, just thinking about how else Paperrex can come in, because here the game really starts to rev up.
And it's still so neck and neck, Quack.
Esther dulu aja bang di G, kayaknya kendala bahasa. Bukan bahasa sih, kayak roll sih. Esther kan nggak duelis ya, bener ya? Duelis kan Escarosi dulu guys.
I mean, yeah, sure. How many of us voted for predicted Paperrex would win?
All of us except for William.
Except for William.
Truly is the will I am. Will he? Or will he not? We have 20 seconds, so I'm just buying time, for this timeout to pass us by and get back into the action.
But I mean, still just thinking about it, right? We haven't seen too much from Gen.G on their defensive side. We know that they have the potential to push out, especially with a player like Texture at their hands.
VCT Pasific pasti selalu di Korea guys ya.
Has to, be on guard.
True, and again, they have to be very aware of how strong the rumble control can be for Gen.G here. Again, it was only a glimpse of what it could be on that pistol, but it can translate into these gun rounds a whole lot more. Now looking quickly into the ultimate cache of both of our teams, Paperrex has got more of the strong suit with the blades and the showstopper available here, but Gen.G not lagging too far behind. If Texture can get that one kill, he will have access to that showstopper of his.
Which is why Paperrex is trying to get a read for that off of Gen.G's timeout. We've seen their A, we've seen a bit of their C. Haven't seen all too much else for now, though. I mean, newly formed Paperrex with Monyet now, just executing at the C site. Kind of bypassed Munchkin's judge.
Waduh, dapat dua. Kenapa dari mana tuh lagi akhirnya dapat dua, cu?
Oh, man. Again, the door opens so quickly that you can't really sometimes react to the punish that could follow up from the defenders, and you see that activated so quickly here. Something now just going to be holding with the judge first. I do like this because, again, you don't want to play that close and hope for accuracy. You just want to go for the pellets first of this shotgun. Munch is going to be first on the pedestal. He's getting very close. I don't know who's going to get this one. On the corner, he will be dropped down by something. Coming in right now is going to be Monyet using that showstopper of his to delay even further. Meteor's getting closer. Lakia as well. They need to make something happen here, and it's all down to Lakia. Good for the first. But there's so many just high angles.
Let's go. Maju.
That he cannot even flick quickly enough to deal with. That's going to be the 97
mereka miskin guys.
For Paperrex here.
Yeah, great solve on this.
Ini adalah waktunya untuk comeback, tapi emang si Texture ini top fragger banget ya. Gak pernah turun guys ACS-nya bro.
Pushes Munchkin away enough for something to get into position to do things like this. I mean, he was really a lot more calm in this moment. And then picking up that Phantom and tailwinding away. Coming down to it as soon as they picked up those numbers, as soon as they figured out where Gen.G was going to approach from. Much more easy for Paperrex to defend post-plant.
Yeah, but again, Gen.G showing the same thing that they brought up here from that Breeze map, which is that they can't punish the in-transit of Paperrex, and they do it once again here in this round. Look at that. Somebody's been dropped down as well as Forsaken. Monyet frantically trying to get control here of C. Doesn't matter if he is alone or with teammate. What a dodge from Mind Freak! Oh my goodness! They're trying to rally behind that showstopper of Texture. Great flash from Karon, and it's all Monyet alone. The new blood from Paperrex set down by Gen.G. What a thrifty round from the Koreans.
I mean, all that utility, all those shots starting things off. We had the Sheriff, and all they really did was kind of just wait for that contact from Paperrex. Once that green light was lit, Gen.G knew exactly how to get going, and it just definitely is a Paperrex that, once again, starting to get in their own heads a little bit. You know, you got the previous round, things are starting to go. You know that Gen.G is on an ego, and you're like, all right, I can take them. You start to walk out, and it just hurts, man.
Yeah, no, I feel you. And again, it boils down to, I don't want to assume.
Baru menang 2 poin guys, udah balik lagi ke 9
because again, they're afraid of that rumble control, especially when they saw the Texture was nearing his showstopper, so they wanted to try to go for BRC. Again, the adaptability of that is very quick. You can rotate either way because you have control of the door. but they somehow get pinched in transition of that, and we see Gen.G utilize that for the past 2 rounds. Now Paperrex feeling that pressure, gotta call for that timeout. It's not Gen.G getting that huge advantage, but every single time that you thought that Paperrex was gonna break away, Gen.G, they're bringing it right back, baby.
That's just incredible from Gen.G. There's a lot to, you know, go into with how they're feeling and thinking about this game, but of course Paperrex getting to buy up onto the next now. You've got to note it back on Forsaken. Something on that op again, but on the attacking side.
Okay. Oh, the Haunt actually gave away the position there of something as well as Mind Freak. Nade did stop Paperrex for just a few seconds here, Quack, but not really the biggest of hindrances for now.
Just letting them gain control over this spot, but look at the positioning that they have. Texture still up around, could go up the ropes if he needed. And then you've got Munchkin just ready to welcome them with open arms on the other side of Link.
Texture's trying to delay as much as he can at the back of the site, hoping that he can stop the one, yes! But he will not. Lakia coming in to pinch, at least stopping some of this massive map control that Paperrex has gotten on that A. Spike will get planted. It's all about the retake here for Gen.G.
Nice fight.
Device does find Munchkin here, making it a
Menang
more
orang yuk, menang orang yuk. Red kill yuk.
situation for Paperrex. Lakia opening the door.
Nice on.
The Forsaken finds him with an Odin. Meteor's gonna just have to run away here, or just stay in the site, whichever. They're already pretty rich, so they can just buy up to the next round anyways. So he can make this into an expensive
Kenapa si monyet doang yang keluar ya? Gue kira keluarnya bertiga gitu. Di bet si monyet, guys.
But yeah, that's always funny when you got you open the door. Hello, say hello, my little friend.
Kapan bang? Besok.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that's why a lot
Itu
of
kenapa monyet keluar sendiri, Cok? Pasti semua.
It's not brand new news or anything, but this is a big reason why you can just wall bang for days that specific angle, whether you're attack or defending. And it is such a huge, look at this. It's such a huge power play for you to be able to do that.
On the attacking side too, especially if you're behind rubble, you can
Bisa,
spray through and try to catch someone as they try to approach. And that's what Forsaken is doing again, just to give Paperrex a little bit more map control. But yo, Karen!
Okay, a little bit of an overreach here for Gen.G for sure, as Mind Freak and Texture have been just blasted away. Speaking of which,
Gila, monyet kenceng banget tuh lompatnya
to
tuh.
infinity and beyond, the showstopper comes to truly stop that show. 4 versus 3. We have a bit of calm here as Paperrex do get access onto that A site, but the rest of Gen.G already right now the back of things. Meteor finding one, lockdown activated, but it is a little bit shallow. There still is position that you can play inside of tree as well as outside right there of stairs, and something holding the blades as well as the operator. This makes the long range fights a little bit more palatable here for Paperrex. Haunt does give away his position. They use that Haunt to actually get closer, but Forsaken holds for something. Something now against Meteor, 2 versus 1. That box not really giving too many angles for him to have safety on. And if he gets peeked, there's going to be one in the front, one in the back. That's going to be Paperrex 11-8.
So although they picked up quite a bit, making use of the Killjoy lockdown, Gen.G but the setup from Paperrex was still just that good. And that's always the thing about, you know, the A site. You've got tree that you can hold out from. You've got the stairs area that you can also watch from. And Divide knows how to play off of his teammate that way.
One enemy.
Davai panas banget, bro.
They're having fun.
Ya guys, nah udah seneng guys. Kalau ketawa-ketawa gini gue suka guys.
It's a dangerous time for you. And I'm having fun, because that means that we're going to get a game 3.
You need someone to keep those spirits up. You know, if not, something or Ilya will get really in their heads.
What is this? Okay, just, you know, open the door, get tripped up, see what happens. Wall has been called in a little bit closer into the A main position, and that actually works in the favor here of Gen.G. As you saw, Forsaken get blasted very quickly. They're very close into the opposition right now, but Divide realizes that he has to come pinch in for his teammates. Oh my god! Again, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee for something, loving to use that floaty. Both snipers actually missing as they try to reposition quickly. But now they know Meteor's
3 lawan
position
1 ya kali
exposed.
kalah.
He's only got a
3 lawan 1
Marshall in his
guys,
hand
3
here,
lawan 1
Quack,
guys.
and
Kalau FCT kayak
truly
Rob
is
ya,
danger
sabar ya.
time for him. If he loses this, PRX will be on map point.
Bisa guys, bisa guys, bisa guys.
Okay, Meteor!
Anjir, dapat 2, what the hell?
That's the same Meteor that we saw from Gen.G last year, doing things with the Marshall. But still, I mean, when you think about it, PaperX
Gila,
definitely...
meteor tekstur kenapa sih ini guys? Ini kesurupan apa sih guys?
Very close to it though. 2 kills with that Marshall. I mean, Gen.G's whole game plan was to really try to find a way, pull off something unorthodox, right? Make use of that toxic screen to surprise that 3 players on the other side of it. That said though, Monyet on the other side, PaperX having game plans. A plan B really.
Ketawanya tai banget apa Jo?
Keep themselves alive.
Monyet otoprek nih bro.
I'm just gonna stay quiet here and let us just enjoy the laughs of the Vi. Make that your soundtrack, ladies and
Jangan
gentlemen.
terlalu terburu-buru guys, santai aja guys. Santai.
I was spewing some nonsense words. We've already seen some great impact actions here from Gen.G as something's been taken away from the board. Again, Gen.G still threatening a lot of that control on Rubble. This means that it's only down to really Monyet to entry into the site. The Vi activates, but Meteor is here to just again anchor things. Denies access into that C site, and PaperX will have to scratch their heads a little bit here. What happened? We tried to push in and actually fall on our heads as Meteor repositions for this right angle. They might not know about this, and they will never do, as the smoke really just makes it difficult for them to gain any
way too
point of
much.
control.
There's so much delaying that the rest of the PaperX members on the other side, if they go into this, it's not a favorable numbers duel. Something kind of losing to Keren on the other side of the map as well. It just doesn't quite work out for them. So Gen.G gets to extend their lives in this map.
Yikes,
masa flawless anjir.
Truly going to be the nightmare there for PaperX, and you say it already, man. It's gonna extend the lifeline here for Gen.G. Texter's now gonna have himself the sniper in hand. What happened here at this point? Ah, yes, there it is. Keren getting that quick Rubble control. PaperX couldn't push up because of all the delay tactics that we saw from Gen.G, and then C-Site, it was the same thing, but then Meteor was the one holding.
Yeah, it's all these tiny, slight bits of utility. You know, Meteor has the Nanostorm. It kind of slows down the rest of the team. They can't quite follow up with Monyet because of it. And keep in mind, PaperX has spent both timeouts at this point. They're on an eco. It's a bit of a half buy, but it's starting to bite them in the back.
Ooh, Keren, where did he come from? Takes him to 2K. There's the quick flash from the Vi. Okay, oh, hold on. The Vi gets 2. But never mind. All right, I'll bite my tongue
buru-buru
there.
napa bro, jangan buru-buru.
Gen.G really having solid control on Rubble, man. There is no answer for PaperX in these past few rounds.
Past 2 at the very least. The adaptations, I mean, that's another thing with the PaperX structure. You know, all of them are giving ideas as to how they want to approach the map or figure out ways to deal with Gen.G. But yeah, they've spent those timeouts, and this means, you know, unless there's a clear answer, we might actually have an overtime at our hands.
PaperX are running out of credits to actually fall back on for the moment too. This camera
texture and an off.
Yeah, there you go. Does give away the position too of his opponent right in front of him. It's only Forsaken really just holding A main. He wants to be able to anchor this by himself from the looks of things. That will allow PaperX to again make do with elsewhere, but they're so far back from both sides, man. They haven't really done this kind of slower approach at all in this map.
There's not that much control. One-way smokes are all being spent up around this one spot. And then, of course, you still got Munchkin available with that toxic screen. A is a very difficult spot to hit right now, but trying to make something happen off of the Odin suppressive fire.
Okay, they open the doorway into tree. Oof, texture, here you go. Inside the smoke is going to be Keren. The PaperX are pushing blind into the side. They gotta just go for that big something. Finding Munchkin.
30 seconds left.
Showstopper activated. Is that stop on the spike? Yes, it will be. But it's straight for trade here, Quack. It's not the end of the world. Something repositions, almost gets hang by the rope side. Lakia pushed out something. exploding at this point. And there's the plant on the spike, 2 versus 1 for Meteor, but
10
Meteor
seconds left.
has truly been
Spike planted.
a miracle worker at this point. They're backing
Nice.
up into the corner
Let's
and
go.
something
Let's
finds
go,
it
bro.
in the 4K.
Let's go, bro.
And we are going to map number 3.
I mean, in that last round, you can
Let's go, let's
feel
go, let's go.
almost that tension, that the rage that something had seething behind him. Having had enough from those
Map
previous
3 guys,
rounds, he
map 3
pushes
guys,
up,
map 3
picks
guys.
them off one by one.
Map 3
It was a great
bro.
setup that Gen.G
Let's
had, a
go
brilliant
bro.
idea, you know, playing off of Keren and Texture. Keren playing a bit of a distraction to try to step away. Texture holding the off angle with the operator. But it leaves them with not much of an
Gila,
escape route.
4 second
And
guys,
something
gila
is able to
guys.
take them down that way.
Now
4
we're just gonna
second
pass it
ya
on
guys ya.
to our
Oke guys, map
panel
3 nih
to
guys ya.
discuss things a whole lot
Sunset
better.
bro. Sunset itu Jason itu pakai apa ya?
The
Armor
score
ya?
is now 1-1, and it seems
Oh, Yoru
like
ya?
Paperrex here, they are being challenged by Gen.G. We did see in the coach's interview that Gen.G
Di
did
berantem ada di mana?
prepare specifically for Paperrex, and it looks
Di
like
atas
they are
mana?
showing they did their research very well.
No, they very much did, but this was a much better effort from the side of Paperrex. I mean, you can see 14 first kills there for the side of Gen.G, only able to get
Berando,
those
bang.
10-round
Jangan
wins. It's another
malu,
13-10
guys.
scoreline, and now we go to map number 3. So we're going to get a nice little
Ini, coy,
zoom
lagi
in here
apa,
on
lagi
Gen.G
mandi, guys,
Sunset
lagi
to see
mandi.
how they are prepared for that map and whether or not they're
mandi,
actually going to be able to close this
guys.
one out. But this was still similar to, you know, it's one of those series that, one of these maps that just doesn't really tell the whole picture by looking at the score lines here, because it was so much closer, and 13-10 already points to a close match.
Yeah, I mean, any of these, there was many that went down to kind of 1v1s, 1v2s, things like that, and many good chances for those clutches to happen. Obviously, none of them really coming through on the scoreboard. But the other thing is Paperrex, I mean, they got to brush up on the pistols, right, and the anti-ecos, because they are losing either the pistol or the anti-eco consistently throughout the series.
Oh, iklannya bareng sih, Jing.
Reliant on the likes of, you know, ZOWIE to really bail them out still.
Sure, but I think one thing that still hasn't changed for Paperrex is how they use that Odin on this map, right? It's not just to get the kills through
Ada
the walls,
suaranya, guys,
but
emang
it's
guys?
actually to constantly spam it so they can keep creeping up. So it's not just the double controllers, but it's the fact that they are not only clearing angles, but making so much noise that you have to respect the Odin. You just keep backing up, and a couple of those rounds, they basically took over all the way right up to A site simply through Odin spams.
You know what? I think that, like, okay, Paperrex did win this map, but it wasn't a very convincing win. You know, there were a lot of times wherein they could have won rounds like a lot. This could have been a lot faster. This could have been a lot easier for them. But we saw so many times where they were like, there's hesitation. There was a little bit of, you know, miscomm. There was a little bit of like missed opportunities, which isn't characteristic for Paperrex from like a few months ago.
Yeah, it's not. And I think that this is still the hive mind assimilating for them. Right now, we're not seeing that just consistent ebb and flow between all 5 players in the lobby at the moment. And we knew that this was going to take some time to develop. Obviously, when you have a core that sticks together for a very long time, if you change one of those pieces, it's going to take a while for that adjustment to come through. But still, fantastic performances across the board between both of these squads. I mean, Meteor having a hell of a time, but
Udah guys, udah ngomong guys.
I mean, good God, it doesn't feel like he went 16-16. You know, just a net neutral when it comes down to the KD, because there were so many great moments where he was the one that was saving them. That 4K that he had just a couple rounds towards the end there. Texture as well, putting up significant numbers. That continues here with this trend from Gen.G. So going into Sunset, I really don't know what to expect, because I need to see what Gen.G is going to be bringing to the table on that map, and I need to see if Paperrex has been able to improve what we saw from them at AVL.
There is a worrying trend here for Texture, is that he's losing the maps that he's not getting over 300 ACS. and I know this sounds like a joke, but this has always been the trend for his career as well. If he's not top ranking out of his mind on previous rosters he's been on in Challengers Korea, or I guess Valorant Challenge way back when before VCT started, that was also the trouble he had. If he wasn't fragging and carrying the team, it was very tough for them to kind of close things out.
Tapi Texture tetap mengerikan guys. ACS-nya 258 loh. Gak turun ke 200, turunnya ke 250 doang guys.
Man, do I really have to carry this team again? Because that would concern me a little bit.
So it's kind of like he's at 100% or not at all.
Well, yes. In terms of results. Yes, in terms of results, absolutely. But both times, I mean, even last time when they lost split against RQ, it was Meteor who was still trying to keep help. keep them in the game alongside texture. So hopefully that gives him a little bit of comfort of knowing, okay, it's not just my individual score that's kind of making or breaking the game. It is about the teamwork and how our opponents are playing around their map picks as well.
Yeah, I think that Meteor here was definitely a player, you know, that we have to highlight. There were so many times where it was just
guys, satu orang terakhir guys ya.
versus like 3 or 4 even from Paperrex, right? And somehow you still doubt, oh, surely he doesn't win this, but somehow he does.
You put any gun in this guy's hands, and he's going to be able to deliver the results. The Marshall, especially, something he just demands respect when he is wielding that weapon, and he has put it, proven it time and time again. Something though, with some great moments throughout this, just kind of getting back into
sebenarnya enggak sih, menurut gue sih kuat-kuat semua guys. Meteor texture kuat, siapa lagi ya?
Back to maximum comfort, you can see he was going for those ankle, those wrist break plays, where he just goes dashing over top of somebody.
Smokernya Karen juga kuat, Cok.
The peaks that we're seeing from something continue to remind us of what we saw last year when he got that MVP in VCT Pacific. But again, it's not as consistent as we're used to seeing throughout the 2023 season.
That's the thing, you know, you see the adjustment come in because they do have Monyet there, right? Taking over the reins of the Rays, so to say, over on Lotus. And you do see how sometimes, you know, the coordination isn't quite there, but towards the end, towards the later half of that map, I do feel like, okay, they were in sync, and you know, the entries that Monyet was getting was definitely something like, oh, reminiscent from like way back when.
Sunset easy win gak bang? Gak tahu. Jujurly gue lupa guys. Komposisinya terakhir Sunset gimana ya? Paperrex mainnya ya? Gue lupa guys. Ada nggak Paperrex main Sunset guys? Gecko, something Gecko, setahu gue something Gecko. Monyet itu pakai Omen. Forsaken kayaknya pakai Jet deh kalau nggak salah.
So now, obviously we go to Sunset, and that's the big question, is that when they played it at AVL, it was Jin coming in to play that Raze, right? And they were swapping out Mindfreak a couple times here and there, and they were really swapping up the roles. So now, I mean, first of all, is it going to be the something Gecko? But then also, does that leave Monyet to be the Raze to try to break open sights and go for those retakes? Because then we're going to have to start questioning, okay, is the synchronization there for the entire team? Or is Monyet's confidence going to be enough to actually carry them into the win?
I think with the performance that he just had there on Lotus, he should be feeling pretty confident in his performance. I think that he'll be fine to continue on with that one.
Setahu gue ya, kalau kalah pulang belum masih ada second chance bilangnya.
Something that is played here for the side of Paperrex, where they decided, okay, you know what, we showed this during the tournament. This is what they'll likely expect us to run. Let's go, you know, double duelist, something like that. We'll have something just continue on the Jet, or do they even have something else up their sleeves?
Yeah, and that's scary with Paperrex, because again, we're dealing with a team that is very, very flexible, right? And what they showed during the off-season tournaments may not be exactly what they have planned specifically for Gen.G. And as for Gen.G, I do believe that there's no information on their Sunset just yet, which could be a very, very good thing for them, especially since, as we saw in the coach's interview, like these two have been studying each other for quite a long while. And I do think that, you know, for Gen.G, they're riding on a lot of momentum right now. Yes, they did lose that previous map, but it didn't feel like, you know, that it was a very close scoreline. It's been 30-10 for both maps so far.
Yes, so I think the biggest thing for Gen.G is obviously, it's not necessarily that you're getting like run over through firepower.
Yeah.
They've been having a lot of pride about, we know that we're very strong mechanically, we know we can fight back individually. Okay, they've proven that time and time again so far in both matches, and especially if you are keeping up with Paperrex here in Pacific in that regard, that is very good news. Now when it comes to Sunset, sure, there's not much to go off of, but they did show what they've prepared coming into Kickoff now, and I can't imagine that it's going to change too drastically. So the question is Gen.G, do they have some more in the bank, or is Paperrex just going to be able to read right through it?
Yeah, and looking at these map highlights that we have, right? You know, you see these rounds come down to very individual performances here, and you know, I do have to single out Karen, who was just so amazing, and Achilles, we were pointing out how, like, you know, this kid, he's definitely made so consistent as well.
Yeah, he really is, and it's been so very impressive because, again, you know, a little bit of a slow start in the RQ series, but then just ramps up. This time he started at an 11 when he came into today, and that was a big reason why they were able to take away Breeze, and that continued going in towards Lotus as well. His timings and just decision-making as well as his aim have all been very much on point here, and having a solid controller, I mean, we know how important that is. It's one of the most important roles that you could have, you know, a star player in for any team. That's why Mako is so reveled and has been for many, many years. So I think that this is such a great start there for Karen, but we'll see if that's going to be maintained as we go into Sunset.
Yes.
Aku penasaran Ejin itu guys, jangan pakai 3 smoker lagi lah ya.
RQ in that map 3, that's when Karen was still adjusting. He was the only person in the server. Hold that thought, because we've got a Sage coming back.
No duelist.
They are playing
the Gecko.
duelist list.
Yep, no
Sunset
duelist.
on Paperrex.
Lots of interesting things we can talk about here.
I see. Here's what I was expecting. I thought maybe they were going to cook and do something a little bit different. I thought maybe they're going to try a single controller for this map. Have Mindfreak play the Omen. Zowie go over to Killjoy and then go Yoru alongside the race, but they are completely going off.
Gak tau lah, aku pusing mau beli truk aja.
I kind of like this, especially because they knew that Gen.G's still running the Sky, and Sky just can't get as much information throughout the round now in this version of Valorant. So that wall, those slow orbs have a lot more value.
How do you W without a duelist? We're about to find out as we head into map number 3 between Paperrex and Gen.G. Quack and Asarai, over to you guys.
Thanks for that, our amazing desk. And yeah, I was actually just wanting to add as well, you know, in terms of the questions they were throwing away at us, in a map such as Sunset, where I feel like Cypher has such a high tiering here, how can Paperrex actually deal with the tripwires when they don't have, let's say, a Sova, you know, to break it easy?
Right? Yeah, you're just gonna have to rely on, like, I don't know, your bullets.
Ini apakah mereka mencoba meta baru, ataukah mereka menemukan meta baru? Guys? Mencoba atau menemukan itu beda loh guys ya. Kalau menemukan berarti mereka udah pernah coba dan berhasil.
It's definitely a bit of a head scratcher. This entirely duelistless composition is not something that we see all too often. Actually, I don't think we ever see it.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is Paperrex after all.
Say that 10 times fast, right? But I will say on Sunset, the Sage Walls are pretty insane because you can get into some good elevations that the smokes of Gen.G might not be able to blot out completely. That being this one as well, as we can see here on Market. But Gen.G is very aware of this, and DeVio is almost taken down. But the separation, though, does allow them to get the pickup onto Munchkin. Now, the rest of Paperrex is going to be holding back the site, and they're just going down to work. Gen.G not in a comfortable spot, and they're just going to have to try to wiggle their way out of this as we turn into the 2 versus 1. But this could be a quick transition if Meteor can find some good timings on this. But he gave away that location of his because he threw out the camera.
Just a little bit.
Tapi emang gue lo tahu sih something man. Gecko emang sering sih di ranked. Dia tuh kalau di Sunset sering main Gecko guys.
On the attack from the defending side, you've got that Sage Wall, which is actually really interesting because it blocks off Market, and now it allows for the rest of them just to, you know, be free in a target-rich environment. We know that they're going to approach from A main. We can just hold our ground and start picking them off bit by bit. Mindfreak with that ghost shot, picking up the double kill, and that's the Paperrex that we see.
At least for these next couple of rounds, before Gen.G gets those rifles, the Sage Wall is going to be somewhat harder to break down, so there should be a lot more safer position for Paperrex to drop it in. Don't worry about that angle for a good chunk of the round and just be safe. Anyways, Forsaken, Outlaw, Contact, success.
Nah, gitu tuh baru benar.
2 bullets. Very, very good start here for Forsaken.
That's what, 300% success rate? No, that's terrible math. In any case,
could you? We are, you know, we're supposed to be good at math.
Ah, 4 kill Jason, bro.
Because we have phones
Nyala,
that
bangku.
have calculators, and you can check it.
Good save, good save. That said, yes, I mean, we do have calculators. We have, you know, the credit score being, you know, calculated for us. Forsaken getting a lot of those frags, and it's immediately putting a door stopper to anything that Gen.G throws at them. Not to mention Mindfreak out the lurk, and also towards the last kill on towards Keren.
Let's go.
That this would be
guys, 2-0 yang indah untuk early guys ya. Let's see.
So,
Rifle by Gen.G apakah bisa ya guys ya, dapat 2 atau 3 kill guys, sudah banyak banget tuh.
Oh, and a Sage Wall that boosts them up. That's what the Outlaw and the Sage is for.
A lot of the elevation, man. I told you, there is going to be so many cheeky positions that you can utilize this with. And of course, the byproduct of just blocking off a certain pathway that Gen.G will have to break or wait for it to break.
Mereka main split guys, mereka split dulu, ambil orb, cabut.
As you can see, forces Gen.G to be a whole lot more respectful of just, you know, pushing up into these certain positions. Ooh, Meteor, boot spotted.
Yeah, they don't want to lose their full buy run all that quick, right? They don't want to give the bonus over to Paperrex, and so just trying to be very careful off of it, cut noise, and then the execution through. Texture getting this first frag actually does so much for them because now they have more options. Not to mention,
diambil, cok. Aduh, ini banyak banget. Kita tinggal sama Jason, cok.
To walk up front on mid.
Did they close the door on Market though? That's still open, isn't it not? Okay, there you go. It's still closed up, so Forsaken doesn't have to worry about that for the moment. No aggressive push out here for Gen.G just yet, Quack. Maybe waiting for, or just letting Paperrex cook for the moment, but since they have to, some of their players have to go for the half shields, that Outlaw, absolutely terrifying. Texture's already here in the front lines, and the damage, the aim, the lethality, absolutely felt. Forsaken pushing in, picks up so many weapons. This man is an absolute Inspector Gadget. Keren.
Can't reload.
Oh, man. He's waiting for his teammate, though. He's waiting for something. Who has the wingman? Oh, no, the stun. No way.
Aduh, something nembak apa?
Keren, 2 headshots. Holds it off even through the pressure of utility chasing him down to the ends of the earth.
You could definitely see a slight bit of miscomm, a bit of a mishap towards the end of that round. Forsaken starts things off incredibly well. Of course, Gen.G tempers with that.
Something, itu tinggal tengok doang.
Well, gathering up towards A and then executing in, but then just at the end of it, although Forsaken picks up a frag, like you mentioned, swapping weapons. Something I think wanted to pick up another rifle. It just wasn't quite there to support. Forsaken on characters whiffing, so Keren just pops off, and now back to it. Paperrex does not want to let up.
Yeah. Again, that's talking about it, man. This Keren newcomer for Gen.G already showing why he's in that spot. This time, though, it will get punished. Divide holding a very high angle here, not getting it spotted, so it will get some damage in, but Meteor somehow manages to get that backside control already, opens it up. Will not have to deal with that for a moment at least. Dizzy activated, Paranoia huge. Is he really gonna thrash for the overkill? I love this! And Lakia, welcome! Okay, I was about to welcome him, to the Blades, to Tondo Gaming, even though it is Paperrex.
Hey, we're not in Tondo.
True, we are in Sunset. It's located in LA. Thank you.
But you gotta admire the movement, the way that something plays off of this. Just securing the round. My kill, yeah. He's off for that 4th quad, right? And also one more point after having spent the Thrasher.
Yeah.
But it's mainly, playing off of that Dizzy. They've managed to pick up those kills as Gen.G tried to make a play through this. So Paperrex definitely adapting around it, getting a lot of good information because of their utility.
And again, just to get in a different point, it felt that this is the comeback for something in this specific
Ini pakai outlaw mulu, Jasot, kenapa dah?
He's been putting the hours in that outlaw, man. I mean, he doesn't
Ngeri
even
banget,
have
Cok,
to hit the
Cok.
headshot. It's all body shots for him.
It's an answer back to whatever Meteor and Texture did to them on that map 1.
Fair enough. Mind Freak now repositioning. Smoke doesn't allow him to push outside of market cleanly, but yikes. Is he gonna get thrashed in here? Actually into the pit with Texture and teammate. Doesn't
Jason serem banget dah.
As they chase Bonyet into the back of the site, the rest of Paperrex was there to trade him off.
Not afraid, right? To throw his body in so that his teammates can use him for
lagi di
information.
lembak.
And that's kind of how Paperrex
Jason apaan 12-3, Cok?
as soon as they can confirm that the hit was headed towards the site.
Jason nggak pernah beli Vandal loh, guys. Pakai outlaw doang, Cok.
And just to kind of set up around it, Forsaken getting those 2 kills just pretty much confirms that the hit was headed towards B.
Okay, I was waiting for something else for him to say, and he just said guys, so...
Tapi nice start ya, 4-1 ya. Semoga bisa mempertahankan ini guys, defending side-nya guys ya. Attacker-nya gue nggak tahu deh gimana nih.
Gen.G. I don't think Paperrex will, with how much aggression and success they've had in these rounds, be the one. And because you're absolutely right? Outlaw, it's getting so much impact as of the moment. And it seems like, again, Gen.G can't really find that answer against it because they've just been slow creeping up into positions where Forsaken is ready for them. And a double up to this is he's not the only one playing. it's him.
Gue bisa nonton anomali mandi bang, emang ya guys.
Right? So if he misses, something immediately throws out the dizzy at a high enough angle. It flashes the rest of Gen.G. They back away, allows Forsaken or something to reset the fight and put themselves in a position where they're more ready to go for the second encounter.
That's actually such like the interesting thing about this composition, because the initiators kind of double up as duelists. They don't have the same mobility, but with the flashes that they've got, it's almost like a Phoenix but better.
Yeah,
and it just really, you know, kind of allows them to make such plays. But it works out on the defense. On the attack, we'll have to wait to see. Right now, Gen.G has caught the timeout, so they've definitely switched something up, going for the full commit into A instead.
They have
showstopper, man.
Very much committed a lot of utility just to get into A main. They haven't even pushed yet on Link. They haven't committed to push yet on Elbow.
I'm scared about this Elbow.
Truly, but look at how many players are already here on tiles. Does Munchkin hear the footsteps though?
I don't.
He tucks himself in the corner. They might not be able to clear him out, and he might get the best sandwich position of his life. He needs to do something right here and now, which he does. The buy does go for a trade. No walls just yet. He actually boosts himself up. What a chat moment here from Divine. Texture left on an island. He's got the showstopper. Divine, say your prayers. And that's going to be that Gen.G. Oh my God, they got pressed.
Banget kalahnya, guys.
They got themselves out of a tight situation courtesy of the man, the myth, the Texture.
Made the round expensive, but yeah, Texture. What a way to bail out the team. Just committing the showstopper.
Standing.
And truly blowing things up to secure one more round for Gen.G. Ooh. That said, though, I mean, Paperrex, what a good way to push down tiles.
I love the reaction story that he just did.
OP, something OP.
Quick sigh into a half.
Anjir pakai outlaw lagi, bro.
All right, same play here for Texture. No contact just yet, though. No, they're really pressing up into this. They're not slowing down compared to last round here, Quack. So it is a full commitment right now for Gen.G. They want to get a quick start onto this post. They want to position for that, for the good goods of this, as I mentioned, post plant, and save up as much utility for when Paperrex tries to come into the site.
Yeah, right. Same thing coming through. They know that Paperrex is definitely not going to make the exact same play. Something investing into this operator as well. So unless they can get clear vision, it's going to be so difficult for them to break through. But that's a great way to start.
Absolutely. Meteor into the corner here. Loving to use of the wingman to rather than defuse the spike. If it gets a target, that's an immediate concuss for you. And Texture's just so far. Even if he can win some of the fights here, he's just way far from stopping something.
Nice.
Unbelievable.
Nice, guys. Nice, guys.
I mean, maybe it was Gen.G overextending a little bit outside of the smoke. They wanted just to check for information.
Enggak, Forsaken nggak beli senjata aja, beli outlaw mulu guys, nggak jelas dah.
I mean, the outlaw being fired off, but then everyone else just coming in just as quick. And you're talking about Texture, but Paperrex, the movement that they got. I mean, Monyet maybe just a little bit more comfortable on this this Omen.
Yeah,
nice.
Where Lakia wanted to push out of his flash, but he flashed nobody. And then he just didn't know how many players of Paperrex deal with as he was holding that specific angle on A.
So off of that round now, it's another save for Gen.G. Try to play things slow and careful. They don't have all too much. You've got Texture on the Guardian.
Texture
so you want to make the most of what you have. Back towards A, and you can see that Paperrex are changing things up again. You've got control over B shops, B main, and you don't see anything. So you have an idea of what's about to happen. That is why Divine as well as Monyet are playing that far back on A site.
And again, if this is a full commit to like majority of the players of Gen.G, if they push out through elbow like this, the slower from Divine is going to stop them in their tracks. With the paranoia, that is a death sentence here for Gen.G if they're not careful. Thankfully enough, because of the smoke that they've had, it allows them to get access to the site. But
nice.
It's a complete and utter disaster when Paperrex comes out to reclaim what was theirs.
That's just a pretty.
Let's go. Nice one.
You're absolutely right. That's right.
Kalau menang Paperrex lawan siapa bang? Paperrex masuk playoff langsung guys.
They see that they don't really have any options. Might as well just commit to something. But what they did not expect was such a setup. First of all, Monyet in an elevated position, and then like you mentioned, right, Divine could have thrown out the storms, but he was also just in position to gun down anyone that tries to
Jangan kemana bang, abis ini bang, nggak tahu guys, gue guys sama anak-anak mungkin ke ini guys, ke pantai mungkin.
But you know, they're not really the ones that you want to initiate fights.
4 ulti. Oke, bisa guys, Byronnya
still
dihabis.
going for A. Sanity is doing the same thing over and over again.
Thresh push down mid,
Expecting for different results. And the different result is, you're absolutely right. PaperX, they've committed for this mid control. They thought that Gen.G would actually mix things up and try to go for that mid play. And it isn't. It doesn't. It's gonna be Gen.G once again holding for A, but Meteor is lurking. Maybe that's the difference.
It does buy a little bit of manpower away from the rest of Gen.G, so Meteor stays towards the back. The rest of them come back towards the front of A. And maybe we just retake from Link.
Thrash activated for the second time. Divide cuts off the corner. Plant denied actually. Texture somehow manages to pick up a kill with the paint shells. No safe space just yet for Gen.G. They have to start holding some crossfire angles while they start defusing the spike, and he's using his teammate as some sort of third POV info gatherer. Not gonna allow them to push up just yet because of that toxic screen. And here comes the contact, and Texture is coming out on top of this, and it's somehow working somewhat favorably for Gen.G for a moment right now. But again, no plan on the spike just yet. Numbers still favoring the Korean side though. Something comes in with the operator, dwindles the numbers a little bit. The TP comes in around the corner. How close does he know? Very close, he knows about it. Oh my god, no way Meteor. And he's out in the open field, man. Out to just get the lane dry and Paperrex, full control.
Iya, bagus bang nanti ya, nggak tahu guys hasil ya. Fight-nya bagus banget anjir, cuma ngebet doang guys, sumpah. Ini Davai lagi on fire, menurut gue sih Davai lagi improve banget sih guys. As a player ya tuh.
But they couldn't quite do it because of the Thrasher that came in, because of this looming threat that was Paperrex. However, Texture was just held on the other side. And if you look at the layout of the map, there's so much more space around alley, around elbow, and that's what Gen.G did. But as soon as that off
good
sounded
start
off,
guys, good
things
start.
started to go
Kayaknya emang Sunset kurang deh si Gen.G guys.
And playing on the side itself, unless you're getting pushed in, you don't really have great line of sight on any position on A. So that's just very bad boo-boos here for Gen.G.
Boo-boos.
Now they're mixing up. For how many rounds was it? Like 4 or 5 rounds straight. They just kept going A, and now they're gonna try to hold their way on to B.
Look at the setup on B.
There's something with an op too. Oh wow, they might actually get collab here if they're not careful. Into the corner is also Mind Freak.
Oh gila di. Ini baru Paperrex bro.
Into the trap man of Paperrex here. Come into the spider's web as they said. They're gonna have to try to pick up this spike if they can. Something's just denying it every single time. Meteor is here. Divide knows about it, and Paperrex. Is the world back?
Second full outlaw harusnya menang sih.
Quack.
Very much more comfortable, but then you know it is still just the first half. I still want to see how this composition works on the attacking side.
Texture masih aja nge-frag loh coy, 12-9 guys.
This is such an incredible performance. You're talking about it, the Paperrex
Texture
but it's also just how they are controlling the map. Gen.G actually looks a little bit
apa?
lost, although they possibly have studied how Paperrex played this before.
Something OP-nya apa cuy?
But that was when Jing was still, and that was when they had a race.
Pas liburan, iya nih.
Very different. They're not pushing out all that much, and whenever Gen.G just hangs back,
guys.
Paperrex has a little bit more time to creep up. If they have control over B main every round just like that, with something on the off to vibe with the off angle on a Vandal, it is so darn difficult for Gen.G to fight back and wrangle for map control.
Absolutely. It does stems to how much more control they have on that.
Jangan lupa ya, gue ngasih tau kalian ya bahwa PRX itu punya 4 official watch party. Ada PRX GEN.G guys yang sekarang lagi live di Twitch sama SpicyU. Sama kalau di YouTube ada gue sama Miti guys ya, Miti Abadford temennya. Nanti setelah watch party-nya ada yang spesial dari Kak Miti guys ya, ditunggu.
Yeah, you can already see a bit of stress for the coach here of Gen.G as they are huddling, hoping to get themselves these 2 rounds as we are almost coming into a close for the first half.
Tell you what though, Asterai, we've got 4 ultimates on the side of Gen.G. Texture on the showstopper, I think, is the one shining light that they were looking for.
4 ulti sih ini Gen.G kalau masih kalah sih gue nggak tahu guys ya.
So I wonder if Alex can anticipate this. But looking at Divide, ooh, well,
I mean, he does have the safety of Onyet right with him. They don't even know if Divi's boosted here. They are aware of it. Oh my god! Divi might actually get punishment. Oh Onyet holding his hand. It's the Paperrex security system, dude.
Sage berguna banget di sini guys, sumpah guys.
Comes up, Divi gets a whiff of Meteor pushing in, and in this the blink of an eye, Quack, 2 drop down from Gen.G.
Careful.
the whole game plan has just been thrown in for a loop. How do you recover now? You've lost Texture, you've lost Meteor, both star fraggers. Maybe Keren, but I don't know how much this Paranoia can really do. Look at the sight lines that Paperrex has covered. Something, in case someone pushes out mid, you're gonna get fragged. If you go through market, maybe, but it's a full 5-on-3 retake. Uh-oh.
Oh, that's the worst possible opponent they wanted to give the kill for, but again, there's nothing really.
Perfecto, perfecto.
Go for that close contact. I was thinking they wanted to actually get someone so that they can get into a
gue pikir emang sama-sama guys. Gue pikir mereka nge-troll guys, menggunakan agent komposisi yang seperti ini. Ternyata mereka OP guys ya.
So many things that was working against the favor here of Gen.G.
Just so interesting how this composition is actually so good against Gen.G right now. Apart from that, also just how Divide was holding off a main. Man, the celebration's going off. I mean, that wall actually, you know, throws off Texture a little bit. If it wasn't there, he might have just felt a lot more free to dive right in with that rocket, but not now. Back off to this though. Last round of the first half, let's just rush into B. Why not?
4 ulti lah ya, masih 4 ulti guys ya.
The rifle there. That would have been very, very bad. Anyways, everybody's blind up until this point, but that snake bite man.
Nggak bisa masuk. Nggak bisa masuk guys.
PRX grinder. Pushes it up. There it is, 2 remaining players on Gen.G. Now down to Lakia. He is
nggak bisa masuk, Cok. Nggak bisa masuk. Nggak bisa masuk, guys. Udah 4 ulti loh, guys.
Good attempts, but still, yeah, this Paperrex branded grinder sold to you for $19.95.
Makanya kalau kata orang-orang tuh nonton Paperrex sampai akhir, guys ya.
Along with it. And along with it, some Gen.G members. Unfortunate, but you know, it's just that last round. They didn't have all that much left in the bank.
Yeah.
And, you know, they just want to try whatever they could throw.
What did it say? I wasn't reading it.
My BF loves you more than me.
Oh. It's okay. At least, you know where the extra love comes from, or goes to.
We've got enough love for every single
kalau
one of these
Pistol menang,
players
udah
out there.
auto win
They all
harusnya,
trying
guys.
to give us a good show.
Absolutely.
But it's
Tapi let's see ya, ini masalah ini Taker tanpa duelist, gue nggak tahu guys.
to fight
Let's see,
off
guys.
against Paperrex. 10-2 at the end of the
Gue
first
cepet
half.
mau lihat
That's
sunset.
right.
Babi
I'm
Rijat
wondering about
anjing.
how Paperrex's composition will work on the attacking side.
Tekstur kenapa ya bang? Tekstur lagi bagus itu guys. Killnya banyak bro, tuh udah senyum-senyum Alex guys, let's go.
And that's not all that much. If Gen.G can't even pick up a pistol, it's gonna be trouble. But that is something that our desk was talking about. Paperrex
Tekstur masih nge-frag guys, 12-11 lihat.
needing to secure those subsequent rounds after the pistol too.
And this could be the make or break for Gen.G, because when you're in this position and you lose the pistol round as Gen.G, you're forced to force buy. You do not want to play 12, let's say 12-2, or 12-2 with nothing. But you know,
so,
when it's 11-2, you got to straight up just force buy.
At least pistol sih guys kalau kata gue sih.
Absolutely.
And that's why there's a little bit more pressure onto these Gen.G players' shoulders right now. They have been showing us a lot today. Texture has been fragging out. Meteor as well. Let's see if they can keep it up.
I also wanted to add as well, Divi, he's been the utility boss on this stage. You know, no safety for himself. He just full blasts, get everything. No shields, all utility. Man is giving his effort. He's giving his life for Paperrex at this point. There's the wall. Cross it up. No tripwires to be afraid of.
Wow.
Planting the spike very quickly with the wingman here. And backs away safely, only leaving... Actually, no. 3 players very nearby, willing to fight inside near the smoke.
Crazy. Dizzy out as well.
Oh,
nice!
Getting this one. But look at how cleanly PaperX are just breaking them down. This wall is separating Fights from Gen.G. They can't even create these crossfires anymore. And now here's the number game. But Gen.G strikes back, leaving Mindfreak by himself. Does he have the time? Does he have the utility? Does he have the angles with the Sheriff?
Aduh, ngawin bertiga
ngawin. When all looks lost, PaperX pushed in and they counter. They strike back.
This might be a dated reference, but that's a no for me, dog. Dude, I mean, they look so good on that execute. You got Gecko, you got Wingman, little homie getting the plant in for you. Nobody was there to really do anything because of Devi's wall, like blocking off market.
Itu bertiga, guys.
Kind of holds back. I was a little bit feeling a little bit iffy about a full 5-on-5 retake. But as soon as the firefight started to break out around Pillar, PaperX started to push past the Pillar, and there was that little bit of a crossfire that Gen.G made use of. Karen getting those frags out now. Devi just couldn't have a good time. So, Gen.G moving forward.
Great start, you know, for the second half. Yeah. We're talking about how it's not yet over just yet. Okay, Monyet finds it. Quick trivia, by the way. If you're going to be a Cypher, you know, playing outside of B, you want the tripwire on the floor because it's harder for the opponents to break it. But obviously they can jump over it. But you know, just a quick FYI. Anyways, going back into this for PaperX. They're coming into market. Munchkin hasn't even cleared this out just yet, and he is full blinded. Can he even find something with the judge?
Itu wave banget sih, something wave klasiknya tadi, bro.
On him. Absolutely not. Texture does force back everything, and then you can see PaperX trying to find a different angle at this point, coming up the top mid, but Karen denies with that Spectre.
So there's a little chance Forsaken with the judge. I don't know how useful it's going to be. Lakia coming up from behind is the one that you want to watch out for.
I mean,
there he is. Doesn't want to overreach his lead too. Right? They still know that any player of PaperX with any upgraded weapon is very much scary to deal with at this point, so they can always just do that.
Nice try.
Put him in a spot.
Guys, dapat dua, guys.
Most advantageous here for Gen.G. A solid.
Ini nggak boleh kalah sih. Nanti kalau kalah sih berabe, guys, ya.
Yeah, let's bring back some Gen.G rounds. But of course, it's a good bit of damage coming out from PaperX as well. So a couple of these players, Karen, Munchkin, not quite being able to afford the bigger guns. That could be a problem as PaperX seeks that match point round.
This is a nice spot. Come on, little homie.
So of course it's a little bit important for them to really play off of this. Either bait your teammates or hang back because they are the controllers.
Yeah. Like how the Blade actually clears more of B main. Since, on bonus round, some players will just play on the back of that board. Thrash activated quickly. Not sure if it heard where the tripwire was, but Monyet is very much controlling this back angle for
Nice fight.
Also leading it, or rather defending the gap. So it's a pretty clean take here from PaperX. They just had to use a bit of utility, but it works solely in their favor.
Still though, that fight across the pillars.
Es kasih bro!
Can he get his ace? Oh yeah, he can.
Yeah! Let's go, bro!
He was the sword, he was the shield, he was the healer. Man's the Vi, the Swiss Army knife of PaperX. What you need him to be, he will become.
Map 3 guys.
The boulder and the mountain.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a bit of a round against a half buy, but you were talking about the tripwires, you were talking about the executes coming through. All of that is actually just straight up negated because of Devi's barrier orb.
Gila, ngeri banget coy, headshot semua coy.
Can't really do anything.
Headshot semua guys.
A tiny gap, and even if a trip does go off,
cepet woi, bawa lu Jat. Jangan jinx anjir.
That's a big problem because they want to get that punish, right? Monyet is so far in front of this. That pop flash.
Aduh, Monyet nggak ngedodge.
Lakia does get the trade. It does signal the PaperX to start moving their way quickly into A main. Devi, because of that ace, also now has his res up. So they're looking for a trade here where they can either bait their teammate for a res or just res them to res them. If that makes sense. Oh, Lakia finds one. Tripwire. Meteor holding at the corner of this site. Look at how Gen.G has just gotten all control in A main. This leaves PaperX in such a tight bind. If they realize this, they might be able to push at the back of the site. But at this point, Munchkin and Karen just grinding their gears and cleaning up the rest of PaperX, trapped again on elbow.
Yeah, a bit of that inverse where PaperX wanted to retake from the earlier half. This time,
guys. Dua lagi. Ayolah, come on, man. Come on, man.
Gaining control over, you know.
Hey guys, dia bercanda lah, bro.
Link, Ali, and then Munchkin coming up from the back of the elbow. PaperX were the ones stuck in that choke point. So it's a little bit awkward, especially when Monyet dies that early on in the round. But again, keep in mind, only 2 rounds away from closing this out. Alex calling the timeout now.
Okay, sorry, I was getting into the vibe of the timeout here, but you know what, Gen.G, they're getting their second win. It looks like they have a lot more understanding of how to play when they're the ones on that defending arc.
12 sudah aman banget
it is working a lot more for them. The thing is, I also wanted to add, you know, we were talking a lot about how the barrier orb is negating the tripwires and everything, but if you look at it, they are committing a lot of utility just to go through into the site.
VCT kok sistemnya bukan liga lagi, Bang. Liganya setelah Master Madrid, guys. Ini namanya Kickoff turnamen tanpa poin-poin. Yang top tier-nya nanti akan pergi ke Madrid lawan tim dari Amerika, Pasifik, Amerika, Eropa, dan China, guys. Lalu nanti udah kelar yang di Madrid, baru deh dia pakai sistem poin. Sekarang kan udah ada 2 master, 1 champion, guys. Master pertama tuh setelah Kickoff turnamen ya.
How do we break through elbow? How do we break through this main push? Lakia is holding such a tight angle, and of course you've also got Karen, who's possibly going to position himself in an elevated angle up towards either site or link.
Wow, look at how both teams actually scramble from A main. Imagine if PaperX just pushed that.
I could see, yeah, a timing push though. If they throw that dizzy past the bells, might be good. Maybe they're just waiting for that smoke to go off. There it is.
Karon's already out there though. Even if he gets like double blinded for the paranoia and the dizzy, he's already out. That's why they actually left it, because Meteor has this camera marking up all the way on elbow, spots out something, so that means that this could be a straight-up push. Where the tripwire is for Meteor here, that's going to be the important part right now, as Karon is going to try to feed off of it. Paranoia into the corner. This is going to be a very tricky time for PaperX, and they're going to have to try to do a lot just to get into that site. Quick little res for Lakia, or rather for Forsaken, but immediately gets refragged by Lakia. Thankfully enough, Monyet was there to punish. Dust settles, and there is the site taken. The numbers advantage for PaperX, as well as the long rotation here from the rest of the Gen.G players still alive.
Trade's good enough, but Texture on the flank.
Okay.
Nice! Let's go 12-5, guys. Let's go.
They each got their one.
That maybe Texture could have gotten something, but you're absolutely right. Pop shot for pop shot, 12-5 in PaperX. They only need one more.
Which is really well. Although, yeah, it does not do all too much against Karen. It gives them enough space. And once they had that space, they were able to execute into the site. You know, just making use of the flashes again, or going past it. Having the players to really come in and trade out for each other. That's PaperX style. Every single one of them capable of fracking. And also, Monyet having a good time, the young gun on the stage.
Oke, mereka half buy ya. Half buy semua berempat.
Seems like Gen.G was trying to just get that heavy contact on B main, hoping that PaperX was huddled up. Not gonna happen this time. PaperX immediately activate that null command.
Kayak si Siu sih.
Kills steps into the direction of kills. Wins rather for PaperX in this series. Meteor gonna have to run away for dear life. Thrash activated once again here by something. Divide holding mid-control. Lakia wins that out. So at least they have to deal with the possible flank. But control of the site and timer started to tick down here for PaperX as that spike has been planted down. Okay, Paranoia is activated. This is good. They're using this to bounce Texture off with the showstopper. Flash out for Forsaken. Oh my god, how did they actually get these punishes? But still, Karen lights up the entire house. 2 versus 1. Monyet coming into the corner right now. And it's all up to him. Can he get it? First one.
Aduh, maunya dikit lagi nyet.
Locks it in. 12-6 and Gen.G hold on.
Down to 5 HP,
Aduh,
really
nyet,
close.
dikit lagi nyet.
But thanks to a bit of body blocking.
5 darah bro, 5 XP.
Extra work.
Hoki banget.
A little bit more difficult. Gen.G stays in the game. I mean, the way the entire site hit
lagi.
breaks out, Gen.G just couldn't quite hold off. And like you mentioned in that retake, Texture Showstopper, you know, not quite being able to do what they wanted because Paperrex knows exactly how to respond to it.
We'll say though, because of the threats of both that Paranoia and Showstopper, granted they didn't get any kills, feels like that was the opening that Karon needed to get those frags rolling for him. They called immediate down on this wall though. Texture's playing very close into this. This could be an opening for both of the teams, and there it is, man. Something
Kena pala
doesn't
muna.
miss. They can up this wall once again.
Aduh, awas, Cok, ada vibe.
Has to get close. He needs, or he wants to just stop them from picking up anything right now. Okay. He is preparing his snakebite for it. There it is.
Doesn't negate the wingman though.
Definitely does not, but has a whole lot of commitments of walls to just get that wingman in. And if Lockett can get this first frag, which he does, that's a lot of access points for both him as well as Karon coming in through B main.
Comes down to gunplay.
Oh, Paperrex realizes though, so they have to force fight this. Can't Forsaken hold on, let his teammate at least fight for him. Cannot. And as the dust settles, it's Monyet 3 versus 1. And he's not even planted for him. He's trying to get closer and closer, but that spike is just diffusing in front of his eyes.
Okay, nice go guys.
Good stutter step from Makia. That's a nice idea from Paperrex. You know, we've seen this execute already.
Sudah guys, jangan kasih lebih lah.
Great shot from something to open things up, but towards the end, like you mentioned before, Asterai, the whole thing just comes down to gunplay towards the end of it. All that utility has already been spent, and as Lakia gets the frag behind, it opens things up so much. The rest of the Paperrex kind of got, you know, pinched down inside B main. Can't really fight back because of that. And of course the guns that they had, you know.
Yeah, fair enough, you know. Better firepower here for Gen.G to make do with. One-way smoke always planted there on A main, but without the dog, Paperrex a lot more confident to actually push through this. But here's the thing. That Sky has not given away his position. So if he can play close enough, a guiding light could actually be a punishing play here. But the bait and switch for Paperrex, they immediately knew what was up. Meteor though, yeah, mentioned it. Quick to go for the trade, but Monyet, unstoppable at this point, just keeps going in, and it's trade for trade. But Paperrex, as these dust settles, as these fights come to a conclusion, is looking to get a little bit of the advantage, and that is just enough for them to work with. Texture coming into the corner right now, finds one. Everybody backs away onto elbow here. They got the utility, they got everything. Munchkin, it's gonna be big for him. He needs to find something right now with this flank because Texture is about to get sandwiched in. He's found himself that Phantom as you were talking about. Something's just too quick. He's just too good, and he's just too
Let's go guys! GG well play 2-1 untuk Paperrex guys. Walaupun sempat terseok-seok di map pertama, tapi tetap Paperrex memegang kendali untuk menuju ke playoff. Tim pertama yang ke playoff adalah Paperrex guys. Oke, so ada spesial guys dari Kak Miti guys. Ditanya aja guys yang spesial apa, langsung aja kita pindah ke Kak Miti ya guys ya. Oke teman-teman ya, ditunggu.